everybody. This is episode 12. This is again WINO Forever, the Deppening podcast. We are doing Depp versus Jacobs. This is part 4. I'm Sarah, and I'm joined by the entertainment portion of this podcast, Mr. Arm.
Permission to come aboard.
You always have it.
You remember that line in Momoa and Aquaman?
I know you made it.
That was the tagline. And
you made a GIF for me back in the day. Anyway,
I did. I thought that was really fun. I actually really thought that was a great line in the movie.
And can I say GIF?
Is it GIF?
I'm going to say I don't give a shit. GIF. Okay. All right. We were just here doing this like 12 hours ago. So let's do this again. We are going to continue with the transcript. We're going to get through at least the direct examination of Tracey Jacobs. I myself am playing Tracey Jacobs. You're the lawyer.
Born to play Tracey Jacobs, as all your fans are saying.
With that monotone, yeah. I hope she's monotone.
She sounds a bit like you. I've heard her speak, and I don't know where the hell that audio went, but I've heard her speak, and she sounds a bit like you.
She's got to deal with a lot of shits. I'm not surprised she's a little jaded. We have some Depp news, though. You want to get into that?
Yeah. So, as many of you know,
Deppish news.
Deppish, right. Depp's Alfred Pennyworth, Jerry Judge, passed away. God, I want to say, I think I have it here when the actual date was. It was his birthday a few days ago. And I just wanted to... Okay, here it is. Of course, oddly enough, fittingly, it's the Sun that wrote the article on it. The paper that Depp sued. Johnny's life angel, Jerry Judge, dead. April 6th, 2019. I tell you, time, as cliche as it is, time effing archangels like Warren Worthington. I can't believe that's 2.5 years ago. Yeah. Didn't it seem like they announced that like 6 months ago?
Yeah, it's very recent. But think about this. He divorced back in 2016. How long ago was that? That's like...
Oh, no. 5.5 years ago?
It's crazy. It feels like it was like yesterday that we heard this audio for the first time.
I was dropping a deuce.
In honor of the Succubus?
Yes. Pretending it was Depp's bed. And the whole thing hit. I remember the whole thing hit that day, and I'm like, I must have been on the bowl for like 2.5 hours. Just
I think yours are more impressive than what that little nugget she dropped. That thing was diseased. I don't know what's going on with her in that. Whatever. I don't care.
My excrement comes out in calligraphy.
It sings when it comes out. It's so healthy and happy. Anyway,
so let me see if I can get through this article without these stupid, like we were talking about with just like Radar Online. It's got all the crazy ads you have to fight through.
Of course.
This is how it starts off. Johnny Depp's Brit bodyguard of nearly 20 years, Jerry Judge, who is known as his life angel, has died. And again, this is April 6, 2019. The burly minder was frequently spotted on the red carpet with the star and even inspired his own fan page, as well as the Pirates of the Caribbean star. He also guarded Paul McCartney, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Antonio Banderas, and Julia Roberts. I didn't know that.
Back in the
How does he juggle all that? Was it all different times?
I would think it's like just one at a time. He moved on.
Because he was... Yes, it has to be, because he was with Depp all the time.
He had to be. You know, just the audio in Australia alone, what he was dealing with. If you want to get to know Jerry Judge, you listen to that audio, because he's the main player in that audio.
Yes. He's Depp's, like I said, he's like his Alfred Pennyworth, if Alfred were Bruce Wayne's bodyguard. And in fact, I think that this is like a new, I think the Batman lineage and mythos, they've turned, and I don't know when the first year they started this. Alfred's a former British secret agent, and he has all these crazy skills. Like he could have been his bodyguard, and he's like, they turned him into this like super. They always change the background, but it's almost like there's a lot of similarities. If Jerry Judge were his butler, that would be the same. Uh, Judge also had cameos in several of Depp's films, including Sweeney Todd, and appeared in several episodes of Doctor Who between 79 and 84. So I guess he was a kind of a bit part actor
Okay.
back then. I didn't watch the old Doctor Who, did you?
No. Unfortunately, I had to watch the new Doctor Who, but anyway,
Now we're
continue.
gonna have to back and watch Sweeney Todd just to see Jerry Judge in the
Yeah.
movies and
All right.
singing. The Bodyguard was the managing director of music and art security in London, according to his LinkedIn page. The company tweeted a tribute to Judge saying, "Music and arts founder and managing director sadly passed away today. Hashtag Jerry Judge, you are hashtag Mr. Security in the hashtag entertainment business in the UK. A one-off. Stop. Boy, these hashtags are effing irritating now.
They
They're
are.
just in our whole language has changed.
Yeah,
Nice guy.
it's a
Go
pound
ahead.
sign. It's not a hashtag.
Is it a pound sign?
That's a pound sign.
Are you reading the article? Because
No. Mm-mm.
I have it in front of me and you don't.
I do not.
We'll call it right. Nice guy, heart as big as a lion, great friend over many years. Hashtag Rip Bud will never be forgotten. Judge was thrust into the spotlight when the actor was accused, Johnny Depp was accused by his ex-wife, Amber Heard, of assaulting her in 2016. "Quote unquote life angel." In her court filing at the same time, a temporary restraining order against Depp, she said, "I yelled to Jerry to please help me and told him that if Johnny hit me one more time, I was going to call the police. And I heard Jerry say, 'Boss, please.' But Johnny continued screaming and breaking things, finally leaving the condominium. His work with Depp was so well regarded that the actor's fans even an inspired Facebook page called Jerry Judge, Johnny Depp's life angel. A tribute on the page read, "It is sad news today. Jerry has passed away, Johnny's bodyguard of 22 years, or since 1997. He was more a family and brother to Johnny, and he protected Johnny from harm's way those 22 years and will protect him from above. As he rests in peace, the beautiful angel of a human being, Mr. Jerry Judge, you'll be missed by all of us." One fan tweeted her appreciation by saying, "Heaven has gained another angel. Rip Jerry."
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a couple pictures of him. He has to be. They're not showing his age, but I imagine he's hit 70. But right?
I would say so. I know he died of cancer of the pancreas, which is a brutal cancer, almost incurable, unfortunately, because that pancreas is so hard to get to via surgery. I had a great uncle pass away from it. He was diagnosed, and I think he passed away within weeks. So that's a tough one. Anyway, carry on.
um, yeah, he. I mean, I think most Depp fans became aware. I'd say probably when he became a box office darling with Pirates, you would see more and more of Depp on red carpets, and you constantly see uh, a silver fox Brit tailing him, arms, wingspan, and sliding into this gaggle of fans as Depp signs insane amounts of autograph and judges pulling him away, and he's trying to keep the low profile that he does. I don't understand. I don't know. Almost like his Ronnie the limo driver in a way, because you're kind of going, well, this guy's a bit up there in age. If
Hmm.
shit really goes down, how what is he gonna do?
He could.
Depp has a whole team of security, and I guess he leads the security team. But I can't imagine at that advanced age if shit really went down.
I think he'd surprise you. Because do you see
I
how
think
he
he
would?
might, but
Yeah, I see what you're saying. But do you see how he would drag him away? Basically, he'd put him in a headlock and drag him away from
yeah,
fans. I think he was a tough guy. But he had to be to have that job.
of course. I mean, of course, he's probably like a tough old bird, but a tough old bird can only go so far in
Yeah. I
the
like
threats that he might get.
I have affection for him just based on that audio alone. He is like the
Oh
voice of
yeah,
reason,
yeah,
talking about how her wounds, he's seen those wounds before and they're
yes.
self-inflicted.
It
And
sounds like Alfred Pennyworth, right? The forensics deduction skills.
Yeah. Well, he says the creepiest part of that audio is he says she's always listening or always watching.
Yes.
I think it's listening.
Yes.
And he
That's so
whispers it
eerie.
because he
That's so
knows
eerie.
she's probably recording him
He
on.
says that to the nurse, right? Debbie Lloyd or
I think he says it to
Dr. Kipper.
the. No, I think he says it to another bodyguard, Nathan.
There's a whole bunch of people in the room.
Yeah,
There's
I
4 or
gotta
5,
listen
but
to
I'm
that
telling you,
again.
I think I think either Debbie Lloyd, the nurse, and or Dr. Kipper are both in the room. I got to listen again to it.
Yeah. Oh God,
It's crazy, crazy stuff.
I don't want to get off track, but I just want to say about the audio. I definitely want to have an episode on that. But at the very beginning, it starts with Johnny Depp yelling at her for,
Yeah.
cutting his finger off, and she's, "I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." Yeah, what's she apologizing for if she didn't do it? Okay.
Yeah, the histrionic
Ugh.
personality disorder is just in
Yeah.
such full
Jeez.
effect, and it's just what else about that? Do I Oh, I had another thing to say about him. Damn, I'm so brain farting here.
No, you're doing fine.
No, no, no. I did. There was one more Jerry Judge twist I wanted to. Oh yeah, yeah, about the audio. He goes, what I love that he said, maybe the thing I love the most in the audio, he says, no, no, no. You have to remember, Johnny is all that matters. He's more important than she is.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. He's more important. And he just kept stressing that, going, no, they're not on equal footing. She has, you know, he is immensely a bigger deal to the world at large, to us. Don't put them on the same plateau. Don't placate her. He's more important.
Yeah. And of course they're using him, like her and that guy. Oh God, names are escaping me these last few days. I'm getting so
It's too
old.
many.
The guy
We
that.
haven't really officially got into the,
Oh, I can't wait.
every Depp podcast who's attached themselves to the Depp and Heard stuff aren't like necessarily super Depp fans of a lifetime. They're just kind of jumping on this bandwagon of
Mm-hmm.
salaciousness,
Yeah,
right? We're
they're
not. This isn't exclusively a Amber versus Johnny podcast.
we're
We're
gonna have
going
a
to cover it,
episodes.
but this is
Yeah.
one of the many. This is a Johnny Depp podcast about his career, his life, and whatever goes into it. It's not exclusively that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't confuse it for that. We're certainly going to cover it, but it's not only that.
Mm-hmm.
For example, like those, bandwagon Depp casts, like I said, who attached themselves to this saga, you would never, and somehow don't have any interest in the Tracey Jacobs stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because it doesn't necessarily paint him in the best of light, and it's
Well,
how you can avoid that. I have no idea.
we've gotten a lot of like nice compliments about how we are not blind to the not so positive and that we're covering all aspects of this man's life. So I appreciate those comments and we will continue on.
Yeah, well, that's that. We got that saved to read at the end too from the.
Yeah, I don't know if I can share that on the screen, but I can read it. No
Well, I
problem.
could read it or give
Yeah,
it to me
we'll
somehow.
read it. We'll read it.
All right, this is the last. This is just the last story. If we get back into the transcript, so this is everybody knows now. The filming of Aquaman 2 has wrapped, and mysteriously, Jason Momoa has announced the separation and pending divorce of Lisa Bonet. Did we not see this coming? Like a Randy Johnson 3-2 fastball. Did we
I'm
not see that? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I apologize. I'm surprised, but I gotta say, it just flashed through my head. I love the commercial they did, the Super Bowl commercial, where he strips off his fake muscles and he's this
Yeah,
scrawny little guy, and she's in the commercial with him. I liked them as a couple. I didn't know much about them. I've always liked her because she's been, kind of the pre Shannon Doherty
yeah.
of her day.
Yep.
And, I remember at my grandma's house reading her National Enquirers. I've said this so many times. I got to stop talking about those days.
She ducks the spotlight too, like
Well, yeah, she does
crazy.
now. But she was in the late 80s, early 90s. She was in the Enquirer every week, especially when she started dating Lenny
You read
Kravitz.
that from you read that
I
as a
was like
kid?
I was like 10 reading about Lisa Bonet and this guy named Romeo
Man, I didn't see
Romeo
that stuff.
Blue. I know, not
Oh
Eric
my
the
god.
Midget. But Romeo Blue was his first like showbiz name, and then he changed it to Lenny Kravitz.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's weird, but yeah, he was. I was reading about that every week when the National Enquirer came out. Anyway,
All
but
right,
anyway,
so
what I was gonna say, I apologize. Um, yeah, I always liked him, but there are stories of him like just the last couple of years, ever since the Khal Drogo fame
well, the
and
Aquaman fame is
more.
beyond.
Oh, of God, yeah, but of him kind of like roaming the streets of where he's filming with other women.
Yeah,
So, I mean, good for Lisa Bonet. She got the
just
Aquaman money. She got the Lenny Kravitz money. She got some kids out of it, so she's set for the rest of her life. Move on, honey. If he's going to cheat on you and you're moderately, you're still very attractive, in my opinion, move on.
whoa.
Find a better man. Okay, I'm done.
What are you, Eddie Vedder? Let me read
She
this
dreams in
piece. That's
color.
my
She
page
dreams in
6.
red. Okay, I'm done.
Sing it. Can you sing it?
No, no.
Ah, come on. Everyone wants to hear you sing.
You're the singer, not me.
Name this is from page 6. There's a million articles in this. I just chose page 6. I don't know why. Kyle, the title, it starts off Kyle Dunzio. I
Okay.
guess that's after the Game of Thrones character.
Mm. No, I
Aquaman
don't.
star
No,
Jason
it's not. Anyway, go ahead.
Kale
Called
Khal
called
Khal
Drogo.
Dunzio. It's like them punning that
Oh
the
god.
name
Oh jeez. Done. Z. Okay, I'm done. All right.
Dunzo. It's kind of a force.
That's
It's
so
kind of a
stupid.
reach. Yeah,
Yeah.
so New York Post. Aquaman star Jason Momoa and the Cosby. They're still using the Cosby Show as her. Like there's no other thing to take
Well,
its
she
place in all this time.
she lost the Cosby residuals because they're not in reruns anymore. So now she's got Aquaman money, so she's won.
Because of the Cosby scandal, they pulled it from
Yeah,
all
they
the.
pulled all that.
That's a shame. It was a great show. That's really a shame.
It's okay. It's all right.
Aquaman star Jason Momoa and Cosby Show alum Lisa Bonet have split. Momoa revealed via Instagram Wednesday, which
Oh, I should have. I was gonna pull that up. That.
I think I
Oh,
have the
it
speech.
is
I think it's in the.
so
It's in this. It's
pretentious.
in this. Yeah.
It is the new unconscious coupling statement. It is so
Yes.
annoying. Okay, I'm gonna shut up. You keep going.
We have all felt the squeeze and changes of this transformational times. The couple's
Ugh.
joint statement began. A revolution is unfolding, and our family is no exception, feeling and growing from the seismic shifts occurring, and continued. And so, let me see if I can read it. Okay, here it is. It's bigger. I don't like it the way it's incorporated. This is
No problem.
we have all felt the squeeze and changes of these transformational times. Our revolution is unfolding, and our family is no exception, feeling and growing from the seismic shifts occurring. And so we share our family news that we are parting ways in marriage. We share bits because we think it's newsworthy, but so that as we go about our lives, we may do so with dignity and honesty. The love between us carries on, evolving in ways it
Ugh.
wishes to be known and lived. We free each other to be who we are, learning to become, our devotion unwavering to this sacred life and our children, teaching our children what's possible, living the prayer, may love prevail, J and L. It's like Aquaman's speech to mirror uh, Atlantean marriage nuptials or something.
I just imagine him like doing
So
the haka to
pretentious.
that, and oh my
Oh, in
god.
Hawaiian garb, and
Well, yeah, he goes to like or he used to every like fan convention and does the haka. It's like okay, we get it.
let me see here. Momoa filled out the post with a few images, including but not limited to a crescent moon and a bird.
Ugh.
There are a few clues to split Momoa's feed to his previous post. Hypes, an axe. Oh, remember he likes to throw axes. Hypes, an
Oh yeah,
axe
and
apparently
that
made
I
by
enjoy that.
a motorcycle company, which may be the most Jason Momoa thing of all time. Bonet's was just last updated nearly a year ago. The Dune star, age 42, has said he first fell in love with Bonet, 54, via her role on The Cosby Show. They started dating in 2005 and went on to become two kids together, tying the knot in a secret wedding in 2017. Ever since I was 8 years old, I saw her on TV and I was like, Mommy, I want that one. He joked to
Oh.
James Corden on The Late Show. In 2017, I was like, I'm going to stalk you for the rest of my life, and I'm going to get you. Now, you can only get away with that if you're good looking, right? If
Yeah, of
you're an
course.
8 or above, if
If Danny DeVito is
F.
saying
Murray
that,
Abraham said, yeah,
yeah,
if F,
while
let's see
picking
how
his
that
nose
goes. Right, right.
and wiping a booger on Stuttering John. Okay.
Oh, the whole Me Too movement, right? That's
Yeah.
that's that's a Me Too if you're not Jason Momoa or George Clooney.
Mm-hmm.
Explaining in the same interview that they had met at a jazz club through mutual friends and bonded over Karl Malone and John Stockton, Guinness, Momoa reiterated, I just always wanted to meet her, and she was the queen, always.
Well,
The
not
Conan
always.
Barbarian, they keep changing the movie. Like, I love when they write these articles. Like, oh, the Conan the Barbarian star who recently weathered a bout with COVID-19 secured one important cosign for his relationship with Bonet. Her ex-husband, Lenny Kravitz, with whom she raised Zoe Kravitz, now 33, explained in 2020 of November that literally the moment we met, we were like, oh yeah, I love this dude. So just to put a cap on that, I've read now oddly Aquaman wrapped like last week at
Mm-hmm.
the same time. So this happens, and like so you know more about his gallivanting than I do, but I'm obviously hyper tuned into the way too flirty and creepy interviews with the Succubus when they're promoting Aquaman, and they're
She's like that.
literally tickling each other during the
Well,
interview.
she's like that with every male co-star.
Yeah.
She's on the come up, and whoever she can latch onto like a barnacle, she's going to do that. My theory, because there are many rumors and clickbait videos that are saying that she broke the relationship up, and that's who he cheated with.
Yeah.
Uh,
Does it shock anybody at this point?
no,
Is that not every cliche in Hollywood? I mean, he realizes, oh my God, she's 13 years older than me.
yeah, I look at
Like,
it.
that's a crazy thing in Hollywood if a male is younger than his wife. Like the Ashton Kutcher Demi Moore thing was the craziest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Susan Sarandon and Tim Robbins was insane when that was going on. And
Hmm.
this is almost like the 2022 version of that.
Yeah, I look at it like, and I said this, there was a post on Radio Gunk today about the divorce, or maybe in our thread, but anyway, somebody, wanted to know what we thought about his divorce and whether or not she was responsible. I think, in my opinion, she tried because she is
Oh, yeah.
going to try. I don't think she's the reason they broke up because, like I said,
How
it's
irritated
been rumored.
if you were Lisa Bonet
Ugh,
and you saw him on the Aquaman red car, all the promotion they did for that, it was everywhere. And you
yeah.
saw Amber Heard just like you said, barnacling onto him, to use
Hmm.
SpongeBob Aquaman vernacular. And they're tickling. They're way too giddy, and didn't she has like, oh, we have our own telepathy with each other, and he's talking about like how she's a reader and he needs attention on the set, and she's really just humble bragging that he's bothering her when he needs to be around her so much that
Hmm.
he's disrupting her reading, her fake stupid attempt at looking deep and reading the classics, and the way I got that Depp quote about how she like researched all the things he likes. She's
I was
pretending to read all. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, do you think she, like, learned the history of the Haka and the Hawaiian Islands just so.
That's the next grift.
Yeah,
That's the next grift. That's what
mhm.
she does.
Well, and how you remember those infamous, fappening photos of her during her, wooing of Depp
Tonto Man.
while he was on the set of, Lone Ranger?
Yeah, Tonto Man.
I know.
Give me
Um,
what is mine. Give me what is mine.
"This Texas
Tonto Man.
bitch
Yeah, this.
wants what is hers, give me
Uh,
what is mine." She didn't mean any of that.
no.
She was cheating on him at the time while she's wooing him. and
Yep.
worried about shipping in the first editions of Kerouac to impress him.
Who would
So,
trust that face on any level? She just reeks of dead eyes and lying eyes, as they say, and she just has
well,
all the
men think sometimes with, you know,
yeah. How do you think that broke up the Vanessa man?
yeah,
The pussy fog is what caused all this. We
mhm,
wouldn't even be here
yeah,
if he cast. I read. God, I don't have it in front of me, but I told you this. We were going when we were going to do this last week that Depp and I went back and maybe for next time I found an article. I was curious to see what the press was like for the Rum Diary when she first hit the scene,
oh,
and there's a ton of articles, and you could see the scam artist and the beginnings of her trying to um, just laying on trying to memorize Depp's fetishes and biography and giving the stock answers in these interviews. And you could see her laying the groundwork back in 2009. These interviews are from. And as it said in the article, indeed, Scarlett Johansson and Keira Knightley both auditioned for the Chenault role
mhm.
in the Rum Diary, and he picked her because you really think she actually auditioned? She went in there
Oh,
and
she
just
auditioned.
recited facts about his life she read on the internet.
Yeah. I think the she had one big audition though that got her the role. Uh, Apparently in 2009 the audition began.
Well, it said all that bullshit too about how we disconnected for 2 years and we reconnected again when he miraculously
No,
separated from
yeah,
Vanessa. Yeah,
of
sure you did.
course. Of course. Um, but yeah, if I was looking at their red carpet appearances for Rum Diaries, and she is latched onto him. She's smizing, and she's ultra blonde for the role. Just attached to him like no other, staring deeply into his eyes. She knew exactly what to do. She's an
I
expert.
don't care how jealous someone might be perceived as or comes. I think if Lisa Bonet is watching those appearances, there's no way she feels good about that. And no, who would?
No,
It looks far more than just working relationship.
insecure me. I would be on the set with him every day if I'm Lisa Bonet. If I knew who his co-star was. If it was
Oh, she had to be. There were full on reports that coming from her. She absolutely hated her presence, and she also I'd read that she is been friends with Depp in the past. Now I think Jesus, I want to say, well, Depp was in the first Fantastic Beasts with Zoe Kravitz,
Mhm.
right? So I'm not saying that that's it, but I'm guessing they go way back to the Viper Room days
Well,
because
they
I
at
do
least
remember
know of
seeing
each other,
pictures of
yeah.
yeah, Lenny Kravitz was a big Viper Room staple back then,
Mhm.
and apparently she has a friendship with him.
By the way, speaking of Viper Room staples, do we wanna talk about our I wanna say our, my in my eyes, our sister podcast, because I love them so much, and one of them
Okay.
performed at the Viper Room.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. We're gonna bring that up at the end.
Okay, okay, well, wait. They don't know we're
You talking
sister
about
podcasts.
you talking about the Browns?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. We'll bring that up at the end.
Okay, alright. Forget I said it.
So I just clicked on the thread um, you were talking about from Radio Gunk
Mhm.
forums, and it's Al Cervic.
Yes.
He read, "Geez, this will be all the veal we'll talk about on Monday, speculating Momoa's cock, discussing it with Wilding and Ralph. The horse will can't point and say she finds wig vomit sexier than Momoa. That's exactly what's going to happen. That predictable pelican
Talking
veal."
Yeah, we're talking about Howard Stern's reaction to this news.
John Hino writes, "I might need to be on this, so back off, ladies." John Hino is a woman, is a broad.
No, I don't think so.
Well, I might need to be in on this.
He might just be
So back off, ladies.
I don't wanna give
And then
a
I'd say
an
glowing.
incorrect
I'm telling you,
pronoun.
and then he's throwing an axe, and it's like gushing over Momoa.
Well, he reaches across all genders in the attractive I don't know.
And then Tiger Lily writes, "He'd be forbidden to do that around me." Brandon Lesko. Am I the only one who blushes when Tiger Lily gets a little frisky? Let's see. Xavier writes, "You should hear her after she goes to the dentist. Fake. Listen, where's the one that you get involved? Khaleesi put a curse on his marriage, says Sensei. So it's a Game of Thrones joke. I don't really know the show that well.
I know you gave up on it.
It's I
It's
thought
a
it
lot to
was.
learn.
It's very slow. It's very slow.
It's worth it in the end. Well, not maybe by the end, but there's a point where
I mean,
it's just
snappier
fantastic.
dialogue.
Yeah. One day you'll get there. Okay.
By the way, that guy Brian Cox apparently turned the king down. The guy who took shots at Depp and he turned down the Pirates of the Caribbean. Apparently, claims he turned that down too.
Oh, okay.
That's his thing. I think he runs around saying he got offered everything.
Of
He
course.
turned down everything good. Now Jason is free to bang Jasmine Guy and Cree Summer for the rest of the semester. That is a great. That's from Approaching the Podiums. That is a great. God, what is the name of that show? A Different World
Yeah.
reference.
Mhm.
The Cosby spinoff. The college.
I had Jasmine Guy's album back in the early 90s.
Gunga Din writes to you. We know you, a Johnny Depp girl. Nice grammar, Gunga Din.
He said that to me.
Yeah. So I'm trying to see who you're going back. Who that? I know. Casey and Momoa tag. Casey Armstrong and Momoa tag team.
For Tiger Lily.
Let's stop the insanity. I will take one for the team and step in for Cookie and Sarah. Self-sacrifice for my friends. You broads.
Nobody knows what we're talking about.
This is all over Momoa and every broad thinking they have a shot at him now that he's single.
Eh.
And
I had my time with him. I'm done.
there's nothing more tedious than single stud talk, like his ilk, and
Mhm.
hitting everything that moves. We just assume there's nothing less fascinating than Momoa's orgasm, and nothing more fascinating than my own. Is every so did the succubus break them up?
No.
I think there's a very good chance. I'm not saying definitively, but why should we trust her with anything? The serial lying, histrionic, hussy. I think something happened. You do not spend that much time around someone on that set. 3 movies actually, Justice League, and nothing happened. You really expect me to believe that?
I
And
think it
Momoa is so
probably
gregarious and so. You think he rejects stuff?
I think it added an
I don't think
extra
he cares.
pressure to the marriage, and it upped the insecurity if there was some. I'm assuming. This is how I would feel, but I'm a mental case. I would I think I'd buckle under the pressure if I couldn't be there all the time,
Yeah.
and I doubt she could be there all the time.
And if you're in Lisa Bonet, do you trust knowing what you know about the
No.
Depp situation? And I'm
Nope.
sure she's probably studied it a lot. I guarantee you, Bonet is immersed herself in the whole thing.
Mhm.
Guaranteed. Would you trust her for 1 second on that set? You would never feel secure.
No.
And it's not saying that. Oh God, the feminine wiles and seductress. I just think you're on a set with another broad, and it's just like Miss Right Now.
Mhm.
It's not even that she's like there's no other women. If you notice, and besides Nicole Kidman, there's really no other women in the Aquaman film. So it's like she's the only one there.
You're right. Yeah, I did read off. Oh God, we're so all over the place. I did read though that they have cut her scenes by a lot, and she's.
Oh, they gotta be terrified, Warner Brothers,
Mm,
to make the moves. I don't give a crap about Fantastic Beasts. I really don't think. I don't care about him in the Harry Potter movies. I like I said, I've said it 100 times on here. It gives him that independent spirit back. I don't need him doing another Pirates. I certainly don't need another Pirates, and I don't care if he does Fantastic Beasts. But Warner Brothers has to be terrified they're going to look like idiots if he wins that trial.
mhm. And the
And
way
they
things.
summarily dismissed him from them, and they're backing that horse. They're
Mhm.
backing that succubus horse, and then she's proven right. And then now Aquaman, easily the most successful DC cinematic universe film. Out of most of them are disasters, underachieving mess. There's like 3 of them that are good, and Aquaman's one of them. And for them to trifle with this franchise, it's got to be terrifying to them to keep her on board. James Wan insists on this.
Yeah. It's just for show. With today's movement of girl power and believe all women,
And like I said,
they
she
can't
is
risk
the
it.
most replaceable person on that whole set.
Absolutely.
There are thousands of actresses that could usurp her in
There
the
are
role of Mira.
2,000 actresses that would look better in that horrible wig.
Yep.
That's all you got to do.
And you know
Anyway,
what's crazy to me too? Like the whole, just the connection of, it, I keep forgetting to say this. Wouldn't it be amazing if you could do an Aquaman Pirates of the Caribbean crossover and just like end the franchise and like Jack Sparrow versus Aquaman, and you just bring the all the worlds together, and they somehow, I don't know, computer agree to do it.
I
There's a great fantastical science fiction sea plot in there with the
do
pirates
you
crossed over with Aquaman, like
do you
Jack
want to
Sparrow's.
see do you want to see Jack Sparrow harpoon Mira? Like
I know.
she rises out of the sea and he just sends a harpoon right through her. Not that I encourage violence, but I'd watch that.
Jack Sparrow teams up with Black Manta or some kind of anti-hero connection. I gotta get my people to work on the screenplay, but there's something there. It's too interwoven, you know? It's just crazy.
Mhm.
It's a perfect Aquaman plot.
He summons his old pal the Kraken, and the Kraken
Yes.
just
Yes. And the Kraken's all, torn, and
yeah, but he does it for the friendship of Jack Sparrow. Okay.
then Kira Knightley
Ugh.
fights it out with Mira over the role of Chenault and the Rum Diary, and then you weave the Rum
Oh,
Diary
okay.
into some
Then they redo, yeah, there's a remake of the Rum Diary. We pretend it didn't happen. I'll go with that.
bring Hunter S. Thompson back as a ghost.
Maybe I'd give a crap about Chenault in the remake of the Rum Diary and what happens to her. All right. We got anything else before we
No, that's good on that. That's good on
okay.
Momoa.
All right. And we will get to
We'll
comments at
see
the
where this
end.
is. Something tells me this is not the end of this. We'll see where this goes. We're gonna
No, of
find more
course. It's
tidbits
just
about
starting.
that divorce.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's say, to pick up with the Tracey Jacobs Part 4, we are now on page 170 in the transcript, and then 200
On the side.
on the side.
Yeah.
And we're going to pick it up with Exhibit 73, line 6.
Okay.
Okay?
Mhm. I'm ready.
Down to 8. Exhibit 73 is a few weeks later. Who is John Lesher?
Uh Pressure of Black Mass, the movie he shot.
Okay, and he writes to you, who is Scott Cooper?
The director of Black Mass.
Okay, he writing to you on April 14th, 2015. I called you. He didn't show up. Very upsetting. Hopefully, we will be there tomorrow. We have to pay for the stage time, even if he doesn't come. Do you see that?
Yes.
Was this after the filming for Pirates 5 had concluded?
I believe so. It this might have been for a makeup test.
I see. Okay, and do you recall that there are issues during the filming of Black Mass?
Yes, sorry.
No, that's quite all right. Do you recall there were issues during the filming of Black Mass with his being late and tardy?
Yes.
And was it a problem that you, again, tried to step in and tried to resolve?
Yes.
I asked you earlier about Mr. Depp's penchant for not telling the truth. Do you know that, if he ever made any false statements or untruths to any studios that he was dealing with? Objection to the form of a question. Do you know?
I don't know.
How about in connection with his dealings with the press? Do you know whether he made any false or untrue statements to the press?
I would imagine so, but so do a lot of other actors.
No. For a man who steeps himself in the power of the truth, and as he puts it, I've always had some weird fascination with the truth and my truth. So when you're doing that now, you can't believe anything he says, according to
Hmm.
Ms. Jacobs.
Well, drugs.
Well, well, drugs.
Break it down.
um, and how, in connection, do you know whether or not Mr. Depp made any false or untrue statements to authorities who were investigating anything?
Yes.
Here we go. This is what maybe the most salacious thing in this whole scenario. I'm going
Hmm.
to take a breath before we get into it.
Okay.
You know what's coming, right?
I do.
And you know what's coming. I frantically DM'd you with my excitement, not excitement, but just how agape I was about what's about to come here. I think it's the most underreported on
It's
salacious
not
thing,
talked
perhaps in the
about.
whole. Never.
I've never heard about this other than this deposition.
It's crazy for all you parents out there and self-righteous people. This is not. And if you're a Depp head that doesn't want to hear anything negative, this ain't for you. But don't be a pussy. Stay, just hang in there.
Hmm.
I know you're gonna listen anyway. Like I said, nobody reports on this transcript. But again, before we get to this, don't you think it's crazy? He's has any controversy in terms of tardiness or lateness on a film like Black Mass, which is a very important film to keep him in the artistic toe in the pool. In my opinion, it's one of his top three performances of all time, if not the. And you think, you know, is he doing them a favor or are they doing him a favor at that point,
Hmm.
casting it?
Absolutely.
So you think you'd want to be on your best behavior,
Yes.
and we could blame the succubus maybe for the problems, although he has been erratic and unstable without her too. So you can't use her as a scapegoat for every goddamn. And by the way, I'm going to say it again. He made his own bed.
Hmm.
Is that the term? Made.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
He created. He was a willing participant in his own home wreckage via
Hmm.
the Rum Diary. It was in a pussy fog.
He
He is
is
he
more
he is.
responsible for that than she
Yep.
is.
He
He
has to
didn't.
take culpability for her wrecking his life and and he admits it, of letting it happen. Stop. Is he a victim? Kinda, but he was a
I say yes, he's a victim because he didn't do. You listen to just that audio, you know he didn't do what she's accusing him of. Yes, he's a victim, but did he help make himself a victim?
facilitated the
Yes.
victimization.
Yes. The answer can be yes to both.
We forget that he lit the fuse. When we all these Depp heads that go over to just eviscerate her on Twitter all day, all night, he lit the fuse. Stop giving him a pass for being in a pussy fog.
There were
Say it again.
signs way before he married her. He says in the audio that we're doing in our next episode.
Midlife crisis pussy fog, I might add.
Yeah, there are signs, and he states in the audio, I thought by marrying you, the fights would dissipate.
Yeah.
Nope, never works. Okay, let's go on because this is good stuff.
Okay, so here we go. Yes. And what's your knowledge in that regard?
Can you rephrase the question?
Yes. To your knowledge, did Mr. Depp ever make any false statements to authorities who were investigating either his conduct or anything involving his family?
Yes,
And what was that?
relates to his daughter.
His daughter Lilly-Rose?
Yes,
And what was the what was the investigation about?
he was being investigated by the Department of Family Services and the LAPD. I don't know what the
Jesus.
charges were specifically, but she was 15 and the boyfriend, I believe, was 23, and they were
Oh my
living
God.
next door to him in one of his condos downtown.
Good Lord. I mean, is that not napalm
That's
to
bad.
hear it?
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
Tracey Jacobs essentially is saying they did this, he did this. It is not. She knows about it,
Mhm.
so she's verifying this living arrangement took place. Now, all you civilians out there that aren't in the Hollywood world, we somehow giving them a pass because they're in Hollywood. Would you let your 15-year-old live with a 23-year-old?
Mhm.
You're a middle schooler live with a 23-year-old. Could you imagine that in civilian suburbia America?
No.
Someone in your neighborhood with that arrangement, how that
Nope.
goes down.
Nope.
It's statutory rape.
My father would be in prison if I even came to him with a boyfriend of 23. He
Now,
would.
to be fair, and I've looked slightly deeper into this, and they're trying to keep a lid on this. It has been said that, because again, this is such a stupid excuse, and it is the dumbest thing in the world. And these Europeans, and it is said that it is Vanessa who allowed this because she is of the French mentality, and apparently legal age of consent is what, 14.
I believe so.
So now what is this? Does this give Roman Polanski a pass because who is the linchpin in those two meeting? Is
Mhm.
this all sort of statutory rape a
No, they're not in
palooza we seem
France.
to be having here? They're
Yeah.
not in France. They're in Los Angeles. They're in California.
Mhm. I don't care if you're in France or where you are. It's a 15-year-old child, and it's a 23-year-old man. That's
Living in his compound.
yeah. And
Right?
who
Didn't
cares?
Doug Stanhope said he owns the whole street? How this goes, like it's
Yeah.
just, and so it's just like several houses on this block. It's orange Sweetser?
Mhm. I think so. Yeah, you're
The
right.
condos are on Orange,
I think
and the
so.
houses are in
Mhm.
Sweetser Avenue.
Sounds familiar. But you're the father. Who cares if the mother's French and doesn't care? You're the father. There's a moral obligation you have to your child.
And it doesn't reflect on him just in the sense that he's been known for dating much younger broads in his life. It's just such a midlife crisis cliche. From Winona Ryder when she was 17 to this Rush. What was it? This how did he put it? This sublime Russian. I've met this sublime Russian,
Oh,
and
yeah.
this is after the Succubus too.
His first girlfriend after the
Yeah,
divorce,
and Rochelle Hathaway, who
the
he
stewardess.
supposedly cheated on the Succubus with, which is a whole other saga I can't wait to get to. That strange.
Yeah, you got booted from a,
So,
Depp chat for even saying that or even typing that
I
name
know.
in.
I know. Let's talk about what's your. I think all I wrote was, what's your opinion on Rochelle Hathaway
And then you got a timeout.
and the infidelity with, and then right, I got banned from the. See,
So
this is
stupid.
the dishonesty in these depth colored glasses pot that just will not acknowledge anything. It just is. There's no transparency.
Mhm. You ready?
Okay, so I'm gonna just read it again. You read from 16 again.
Okay.
It's just too big to read
All right.
once.
He was being investigated by the Department of Family Services and the LAPD. I don't know what the charges were specifically, but she was 15 and the boyfriend, I believe, was 23, and they were living next door to him in one of his condos downtown.
My goodness. And was somebody making a claim that there might be a charge of statutory rape involved in the case? Do you know that? Objection to the form of a question.
I don't know.
Okay, do you have reason to believe that in connection with the investigation, Mr. Depp made false statements to the authorities? Objection in the form of a question. You can answer.
Yes,
And what was your knowledge based on?
that he met with both the LAPD and the Department of Family Services, and no charges were filed. And I asked him afterwards. I said it must have gone pretty well, and he said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, you couldn't have told them the truth." And he just smiled.
Good God. Look, it looks like this lock, stock, and barrel 100% happened. You're not making that up. You're not lying about that. That's crazy shit. I. That's really, really tough to give him a pass on that.
Mhm.
Not the lying to the cops, but just enabling it in the first place.
Yep.
That somehow it's this, oh, we're European and we don't go by American rule in France. And no, no, no. No, no, no. That is just straight up the creepiest shit I've ever heard.
Mhm.
And nowhere. There's a couple of weird articles that hit, but nowhere is this spoken about.
This is the first time I've ever heard about it in this deposition.
Yeah.
And I follow the other channels too. Before we, decided finally to do this podcast, you're just seeing, what they're covering. You listen to it while I'm at work. Um, Nothing like this is ever covered.
It's the craziest stuff, maybe in the entire, all of it.
Mhm.
Not just the succubus and the loss of the $600 million, the suing the managers and all the controversies, the stuff on City of Lies with the location manager. This is in the top. I guess this is the craziest. It's statutory rape of his own daughter.
Mhm.
What else? What other word? Am I pussyfooting around this? Should I be euphemizing this any other way? Should I rephrase this? That is just straight up statutory rape.
I don't see any other word for it. I wonder how long that relationship lasted, though.
It's a great question.
We'll never know.
Now that's the wigger we see right at LAX. He's just
Oh,
like
I don't know.
wearing like Laker jerseys, and
It could be.
there's a couple of TMZ shots of them
I doubt
coming
they're
out
still
of
together.
coming off leaving the airport, getting into an SUV.
Mhm.
No, they're not still together.
Yeah. Okay, let's get back to this.
It's tough to go move on after this.
I know. We'll do it somehow.
No, don't you think it's like tough to just like how are you going to top that?
I know. We got more coming though.
And do you know whether or not Mr. Depp, in connection with those investigations, pressured any of his employees or people who work for him to make false statements to the authorities?
I don't know.
This has got to be so tough for Jacobs to be going and think about where they were 10 years ago and where it's at now.
Mhm.
That it comes to this. You talk about a 180 turning this. You don't turn on someone this mightily like this
Mhm.
unless you are scorned, you are hurt. He is dead to you, and you are dead to him.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to, and this is the last thing we're going to do here. I'm going to just show you some of your text messages that you had produced for us. Okay, Ms. Jacobs, if you see in the right-hand corner, you see a little number that says UTA and then some numbers after that.
Yes.
Well, that means these are documents that UTA had produced to us. So these come from UTA.
Yes.
Okay, so this is a set of text messages that begin September of 2016 and go to the time that you were terminated. And so I just want to take you through a couple of these and ask you some questions. Excuse me, the very first page 157, it starts off with a text between you and a Mr. Ed White. You said, Ed, do you have any idea when Johnny is coming back to LA? No one seems to know. Thanks, Tracey. Do you see that?
Yes.
This is what you're talking about, how I'm reading the whole thing and then you just say yes.
I know. I feel guilty. Yes. Yes.
Yes. I'm reading this manifesto and you just
I
go,
know.
yes.
My part is coming in a
Well,
future deposition.
if you read the transcripts, if you read all the UK trial, a lot of the times they instruct the witness to just keep it brief. Give me yes or no. We're trying to get through this, and
Mhm.
you want a lot more. So for your entertainment, you want the witness to go much deeper, and they just go yes, yes,
You want to
no,
get all
yes,
of that on the record. Mhm.
yeah. After Mr. Ed White replaced the Mandels as the business manager, did you continue to? Was it a continuing problem getting in contact and communicating with Mr. Depp?
Yes.
And Mr. Ed White writes back to you. He texted me yesterday and indicated that he was uncertain when he would return to Los Angeles. My guess is he will be home next week. However, it's only a guess. Do you see that?
Yes.
And if you turn to the next page at the very top, you said, is he still in Spain? It doesn't seem to want to come back to LA. And Mr. White responds, I would suggest you do not ask for a call, instead ask for a response. He accepted the role. And the only issue is the financial terms, and this is in connection with the movie Labyrinth.
Yes.
Labyrinth is not Labyrinth, it's City of Lies.
Okay. That's right. Yeah.
That's the Biggie Tupac movie where he plays Russell Poole. It was
Mm-hmm.
originally called Let's Get It LA in the
Yep.
front of it.
Yep.
And they changed the name. I don't know why. That's the name of the book too, Labyrinth. I can't remember why they changed it to City of Lies.
Well, maybe I think City of Lies is much better. Labyrinth has
It's a
been
cool
done.
title.
Yeah, it's been done though.
I love Violetta Wallace, Notorious B.I.G.'s mom in the movie at the end. That's my favorite part. Okay, was that a movie that was made by this production company?
No.
And what studio made that?
It was done independently.
Well, here we go. Some more figures here. More dirt. Okay, and do you know what his salary was for that?
The original salary I negotiated was $8 million plus the back end for 6 consecutive weeks, and it turns out the estimates they made to sell it. Oh God, I'm pausing. To pre-sell it were too high, and they could only afford to pay him $6 million for 6 consecutive weeks. That's
Poor
why I was
baby.
trying to reach him. Yeah.
Poor baby. It's a lot of money for that movie because it's not a big budget. It's not going to make a lot of money. It barely got released in the theaters, and it got stalled out too. There's a lot of controversy. There's tons of controversy. There was
Well, it hit right when all of the allegations against him came out, so they delayed it.
Not just that, the fight on set with the
Oh yeah, the
location manager.
Yep, exactly.
And then there was a theory that this is a conspiracy theory that the LAPD was blocking it from coming out because it made them look bad.
Mm-hmm.
The whole OJ stuff, with how the LAPD had that corrupt reputation after the OJ stuff. Okay. And a couple of texts down from that, you write, he texted me back he doesn't want to reduce his fee, which means this film goes away if he doesn't reduce his fee. Do you see that?
Yes.
Oh, you see, this is when you see Depp doing press for this movie, you're not getting any of this. They deleted the fact that he wouldn't reduce his film, and it almost went away when they start to promote the movie. This is the stuff you'll never hear about. This is the craziest. Again, it's just, I understand it doesn't make him look good, but that's part of the deal here. Yep. Okay, did you have that conversation with him?
With who?
With Johnny.
He would never respond to my texts.
Okay, and eventually did he agree to a lower fee?
Well, I think if you go through these texts, you'll see that he does, or what he does.
Okay, all right, we'll do that. Ed White writes, then on September 30, goes, the following is a text I received today from Fahar. If you have any thoughts, please contact me. And then it says, JD met the uncles of the prince. I will call you Monday and brief you. We are now leaving UK back to Spain. As we came here for 24 hours, the prince got him a jet to finish his Sherlock role. Best, Fahar. Do you know the prince is that he's referring to?
The Prince of Saudi Arabia. I don't know his name.
Oh my God! So now this is a movie I don't think you're familiar with. It's an animated 3D movie.
Okay.
And apparently it's on the arm.
Okay.
For Elton John.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the Sherlock role?
He did a voiceover for Elton John and David Furnish, for which he got paid. Well, you didn't ask me, so.
Well, how much did he get paid?
$250,000.
Which to us is like a fortune, but to him it's like,
I'd be happy. Yeah, for a voiceover, no problem. I'll do it right now.
It's wine. It's 6 months of wine.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a gratuity?
Basically.
And you responded, you said, I don't know what that means. Are they giving him money? I don't understand what Fahar does. This was before you met with him?
No, after.
Okay, so you are still saying I don't know what he does.
Yes, correct.
Okay, I understand that. And then Ed White is asking you about the Sherlock role, and you said your office has all the information. Do you see that?
Yes.
On the next page, you write to him and you said, "This is to Ed White. We sent you an invoice when you first started with Johnny. He was supposed to finish months ago. Though we're going to invoice them for payment on Tuesday." And you said, "So what is Fahar giving him other than planes and the trip to Spain with the prince?" And White said, "Nothing to date. Do you see that?
Yes.
And is it your understanding that was the sum total of what Fahar got him was nothing?"
Yes.
And you said, "The prince likes movie stars. He has a history of other actors. Excuse me, he's a history with other actors. Pretty sure nothing has ever come of this." And that, as you said, is what happened here, correct?
Yes.
You said, "By the way, Johnny won't do that movie for $6 million, which means it's not going to happen," which I told him they can't try and put financing together now. Do you see that?
Yes.
By the way, and I'm not expecting you to know because I'm not sure what the derivation is. I just know that Depp loves to attach himself to musical icons whenever, wherever possible. It's
Mhm.
almost like why he became famous or his motivation. How the F does he know Elton John? What is the connection there? Where do they know? I don't understand in what universe these two should know each other, why he knows them, what circles do they run in. I don't get it.
Yeah, he does come up in the UK trial in the testimony, right?
Yeah, through getting him rehab,
Yeah.
like a sponsor, a rehab sponsor.
It may be, I don't know, but it may be Elton John reached out to him because I think he's done that with other people before who are known addicts. Maybe he knew something, he heard the buzz. God, I hate this term, through the industry that Depp was having issues with drugs, so he reached out to him. I don't know.
Rolling like thunder under the
That's a great
covers.
song.
And I guess that's why they call it. Yeah, that's my favorite Elton John song.
Mhm.
I don't think anything comes close to it.
No.
Laughing like children, living like others.
A weird video, but anyway.
Wish it away. And then Ed White sends you a couple of pictures of Johnny and says, "Current photos of Johnny from Fahar. He looks healthier and rested. Maybe Spain was perfect hiatus." To which you say, "I hope so." If you go to page 161, again at the top of your text, "He texted me this morning. He would call me, but never did. I also left word for him twice." Do you see that?
Yes.
And again, that was pretty typical of your attempts to try to get a hold of him.
Yes.
You were constantly texting him, making calls. It wasn't
It
just
wasn't
texting him,
oh,
it was.
that's me.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. It wasn't just texting him. It was calling everyone in his orbit, no one helping me.
Jesus. Jeez. I would love to see how that goes down. How many different do you try Stanhope? Do you try
Probably not.
Paul Bettany? Do you try, like back in the day, does she try Thompson? Like, how
Mhm.
far does she go?
We'll see.
Marilyn Manson,
No.
including Christie.
Correct.
Why don't you go to the mom, Tracy, just like you did in 1988, right? That's how
I
you landed him in the first place. I would just go to Betty Sue every time.
I think Betty Sue was probably locked away in Kentucky at that stage.
Her last days are a fascinating thing.
Mhm.
Out on his compound and back and forth to Kentucky and the whole thing with the horse farm and
Yeah, with, his sisters ordering, like, very expensive purses for the mother who's
yeah, yeah.
bedridden. All right.
Including Christie,
Correct.
Ed White.
Correct.
Nobody could get a hold of him.
No, I didn't say that. I said they didn't help me.
Oh, okay. And do you know if they were able to get in touch with him?
I don't.
But they weren't able to help you get in touch with him?
Correct.
Okay, then on September 19th, again, you're saying need to close the deal at Fox. Is that for the Labyrinth?
No, that was for Murder on the Orient Express.
Yeah, this is funny. Now, I don't know if it comes up in here, but I'd heard rumors. This is one of the. Now, a lot of stories were printed individually about Depp's problems all throughout, from literally 2015, 14 on to current day. And there were just strings of stuff that were coming out. I remember reading the story that, you know, he was having tardy problems on Murder in the Orient Express, and Kenneth Branagh wanted to fire him.
Mm-hmm.
Came up to him flatly and said, "Look, this is not how we work on this film. We're a well-oiled machine. Everybody's on time except for you. I don't care who you are. I don't care what list you're on. I'm not putting up with this lateness."
Yeah.
And he gave him a warning, and Depp modestly apologized to him, and then I think it corrected itself.
Mm-hmm.
But that sounds about right? The pattern of behavior.
Yeah. It's probably the best person, though, not just being the director, but Kenneth Branagh has a lot of respect amongst
Yeah,
that
yeah, he's got a lot of he's got a lot
that
of
tier. Yeah.
yep, theater thespian,
Yeah, he's a
you
big
know,
Shakespeare guy.
yeah, Shakespearean respect, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And say, okay, Johnny isn't texting me back. I emailed him yesterday about the specifics of backend. Can you please text him to get back to me today? And then you write later, he texted me back saying he would accept back, excuse me, backend, but I am going back one more time to see if I can do better. Ed White says, great, keep me posted. Then now it goes from September 19th to October 6th, 2 or 3 weeks. Ed, I need to speak with you. Please call me. So do you think you heard from Johnny at all during this period of time?
No.
If you go to page 162 on October 7th, you texted to Ed White and you said, we have a Johnny issue. He sent me a very angry text about money now, and I don't want to text you about this. Please call me when you can. Thanks. And by the way, there's another set of text messages that we'll get to. And do you remember what this specific text was you're referring to?
Yes.
What was it he said?
Fantastic Beasts Advance.
He wanted an advance on the
I got
Fantastic Beast. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I got him in advance, which I testified to earlier, and then he didn't want to pay commission on it.
This just gets crazier and crazier.
Hmm.
He didn't want to pay UTA a commission on it?
There's a text specifically about it. He didn't want to pay us, period.
Oh my God. Right. Okay. And yes, and you said Johnny made it clear to me that he didn't want to pay commissions now. I'd like to discuss, thanks. And then if you go down to the longer text, you said, I would say very little to Johnny until he's back in LA. I don't think it helps. Hard to convey in text to you. Best way to handle is what you suggested. A meeting with you, Johnny, Jim, and I. I have been with him for 30 years, and I'm sure we can figure something out. Thanks, Ed. Have a good time at the Lakers game. Do you see that?
Yes.
Now, the Lakers are horrible. This is the Kobe retirement tour for the tedious
Hmm.
240 game retirement tour he went on to, where he had no problem just not developing Kyle Kuzma and Julius Randle and Lonzo Ball and just destroying that franchise for 3 years so he can go on a retirement tour.
Isn't that what LeBron's doing with his retirement tour now?
Well, at least he's performed. LeBron's game is much better than Kobe's was at that point.
He's chasing Kareem. He's got a reason to play. Okay. I hate the Lakers. All right.
Who
Moving
doesn't?
on. All the Laker fans listening.
Do you see that?
Yes.
Did that meeting ever take place?
No.
Did you ever try to make it happen?
Yes.
And did Ed White tell you why it didn't happen?
He said Johnny didn't want it to happen.
Okay. Did he say why Johnny didn't want it to happen?
He didn't need to. Now we know why, because 2 weeks later he fired me.
Jesus. Right. And if you go to the page 163, you said at the top, no one updates me. He is supposed to go to work in 3 weeks and needs to do some work before filming begins. Ed White goes, if I receive additional information, I will share it with you. So do you think at this point in time, which is a couple of weeks before you're terminated, Do you think they already knew they were going to terminate you?
Yes.
That burns.
Mhm.
That burns hearing it again in court too. I'm sure
Yeah,
she's reliving it.
I'm sure.
I was just, and so they were slow rolling you or something. Whatever. You write back and said, "Thanks. I got a call from Disney last week saying he showed up 5 hours late for ADR work in London for Pirates 5, as if we need another one of these. I really need to speak to him before he starts work on this next project in Los Angeles in LA. And ADR work is what now?"
Looping. I forget what it stands for, but it's where you go in and record your lines for picture.
No. Okay, but it's something that would need to take place before the film could be released.
Of course, yes.
And Ed White wrote, "I'm sorry, Miss Jacobs, I didn't go to art school with Tim Burton and Denise Denovi."
Well, get it right, please. You're wasting my time.
And Ed White wrote back and said, all of you can do is continue to reach out in a thoughtful and professional manner. When feasible, I will attempt to assist you. What was your response? What was your reaction to that response?
I thought it was bullshit.
Yes, I see. And then you wrote back and said, "I'm always thoughtful and professional. You're the only one I get information from. There are 3 international commercial campaigns. We have real potential for on Johnny." Again, you got no response, correct?
Correct.
And if you can turn to the next page again at the top, now we're on October 19th, you say, "Just to let you know, I texted Johnny all the details and told him we made a decision and we need a decision immediately or the film goes away. From November, it goes away. There are 3 weeks away from starting. It would have been helpful if you reached out to Johnny too. We're in a crunch time." Ed White goes, "Please continue to pursue JD. Request a response by a specific time and date." Again, your same reaction to that email as previously stated.
Yes.
Objection to the form of a question. Certainly, Mr. Chu. And then October 20th, you write back just to let you know his November movie is about to fall apart. No one can reach him now. And if it doesn't close today, the financing falls apart. I'm just giving you a heads up. Ed White says, "I sent a follow up text to JD and requested he contact you. And then at the bottom, you said, 'I'm out now,' because you were in a meeting." Christy has all the details. I put her in writing with him yesterday. And that Ed White says back to you, "Apparently Johnny asked for the producer's number now. Do you supply the number to him?" You said, "I gave it to him 3 times and he just kept asking for it again and again. I don't understand." Ed White says back to you, "Send it again and again." Ed White, "Send it to me and I'll send it to him." You said, "He has it." He says he does not. I mean, this was going on back and forth, and you sent it to him how many times now at this point?
3 times, and he kept screaming at me in the text, which you should have a copy of. I supplied it.
Now Depp's at a point where it's like you can almost like, what influence is he under now that he can't remember the most basic of text
Mhm.
and not taking accountability for stuff she said, and he knows and she knows, they keep their receipts with them.
Yeah, of course, they have to.
And like I said, the thing with him, the knock or oh, he's eccentric and unavailable and aloof, and those are the 3 things you would never tell a new actor to be like. And you could only get away with that if you have his status.
Mhm.
Nobody can get away with it. Where a huge agency like that, UTA, would just drop you in a heartbeat if you were that unavailable, even for a day.
Yeah. Do you blame Tim Burton for all of this in the long run? For
For hooking them
sitting
up.
Yeah. For giving him break after break and any movie he wants to do and
Well, yeah. The thing is, he has been, from Burton to Gore Verbinski to hiring his friends on every movie, he hasn't heard the word no since 1986. Every film, it's a depth safe um, bubble for him, where it's Can I hire? Is Paul Bettany on the movie with me? And it's the Burton cast, the Burton regulars of Helena Bonham Carter and all the people. So he's constantly used to that level of comfort. Tracey Jacobs certainly spearheaded that level of comfort when they developed that relationship, and it makes you kind of complacent. And there's certain aspects that are redundant. And if you
Hmm.
want to see him get away from Burton, it's tough. I get it. You want to be comfortable. You want to hang out with your friends after a while. And as soon as he had the Infinitum Nihil production company, it became worse,
Infinity
where
Nile.
he's really um, the shot caller in terms of who's working on these films. And I get it. You want to you want to have fun and people you're comfortable around, and it makes you feel good. But you know, it shows in the redundancy of his last, basically the last decade.
Hmm. Agreed. Well said.
Okay, so we're on what?
185, line 12.
Okay, and then again at the bottom, Ed White says, no, according to him, I will send it to him now on the next page, 166. You write in the middle text, I don't know what's going on here. He's texting me from the same number earlier. Again, there's supposed to be some sort of mix up on the numbers. If you go over to page 168.
You're skipping.
Oh, sorry. No, you're right.
Here's the evidence.
On page 166. On the next 167, you basically cut and pasted your your text messages.
3 in a row within 4 minutes time.
Right. Ed, did you receive the text messages I sent? And you say, quote, yes. And I sent Johnny the telephone numbers. Then, the following day on Friday, October 21st, you said Johnny has never called me. We have no idea what he wants to do, but by the end of today, I think the movie will be over unless he wants to make the deal today for $6 million. Again, we're referring to City of Lies, aka Labyrinth. And you go on from there. Ed, I would like to speak to you soon. And then the third text, you say, Ed, I just want what's best for Johnny. I have always fought for him and have been honest and direct. And at the end of the day, that is all that matters. And the results are there. He's more than welcome to speak to Jim Burkes too. Have a nice weekend, Tracy. Then you, a few days later, you say, how did the meeting go with Johnny? Can Jim and I set up the meeting we discussed? Ed responds back, the meeting was financially oriented, and Johnny did not commit to any additional meetings. Please converse with JD. And then the next day is your email at the bottom, and I called Johnny, fired me. I called you. He said you knew. It was very unpleasant and angry from him. We will be speaking very soon. Do you see that?
Yes.
And Ed White responds, Tracy, Johnny informed me on Monday during our meeting. You're welcome to call me tomorrow respectfully. Did you talk to Ed White after that?
Yes, and I found out this was true because of a later article I read in Vanity Fair where it described the meeting Ed and a group of people were having, where it mentioned he was terminating us in the article.
Could you imagine reading
No,
about your own firing in Variety or Vanity Fair? I mean, Vanity Fair takes a while to put that stuff out, so it happened like well before. Somehow, Vanity Fair is privy to
they knew
your
before
life
shit.
before
Yeah.
you are. It's
Yeah.
crazy. How do they even get in on that?
It's leaked by somebody. Maybe it's that guy that was acting like his shaman that we talked
Yeah,
about in the last, or
Fahar.
his guru in
Yeah,
in part 3.
Fahar.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, and again, I think you previously testified about the phone call you had with Johnny in which he terminated you, correct?
Yes.
Anything else you'd like to add to that?
No.
Okay, on to the next set. Ms. Jacobs, before I ask you about that, were you ever involved in an attempted intervention with Mr. Depp respect to his substance abuse?
Yes.
Oh, this is good stuff here. This is really good stuff. Again, this is crazy, crazy shit.
Mhm.
And what role did you play in that?
As one of the 4 people that were going to do it. And we met with a doctor slash interventionist, sorry, at St. John's Hospital to learn what is required in an intervention since we didn't have the experience.
was Casey Armstrong and Audie Lang there? It's,
Off topic. Okay.
was Casey Armstrong coming back from the gym? And Audie Lang said to him, I've never seen anyone at the subject of an intervention coming back from the gym in my life.
No, Casey was leaving my apartment after a very long night. Sorry. Sorry, Tiger Lily, that's your man.
Was James Franco and Elon Musk in the elevator with
Ugh, gross.
him? And do you recall what year this was in?
I'd say it was approximately 25 years ago.
Okay, assuming she's right, she gets her years wrong a lot, and
Yeah.
I hate to say, I've had to correct her a few times during this. So this deposition is 2018,
18.
right?
Mhm.
So going backwards, 1994.
Wow. Wow, that's very
According to her,
early.
again, according to her, could have been before, it could have been, but this is what she says. So
Mhm.
this is Ed Wood's coming out.
This is Kate
He had
Moss, right?
yes,
Okay.
he had complained. He went on a crazy alcohol and drug binge during the Gilbert Grape filming. By the way, just an aside, I didn't even realize this today since I was reading some stuff. Did you know Winona Ryder is the reason Gilbert Grape got made?
No, I didn't know that.
She's obviously not in it.
Yeah.
She, when they were dating, introduced the book to Depp, and
Mhm.
Depp suggested Lasse Hallström direct the movie. Peter
I don't
Hedges did the book.
I am very lucky to have you on this podcast. You
Why?
know, you are an encyclopedia of Depp facts.
Well, thank you. I mean, I should be. I mean, could you imagine if the internet were around all through the '90s?
Oh
The
god.
stuff you would know,
Yeah.
like you just getting. But this is something I just really found today. I thought I knew the Gilbert Grape origin. I didn't. I didn't know that's how it went down.
Mhm.
When no one, this is how Hollywood works. It's like, does Winona Ryder get producer credit on that?
Oh,
Because
yeah,
it's the
sure.
exact same story as Dennis Leary and as I said in the Radio Gunk podcast the other night. I open the Depp portal all the time.
That's
Dennis
fine.
Leary introduced the reason the movie Blow got made. Dennis Leary simply handed the book off to Ted Demme, who said, "This is a great book. You got to make this movie."
It's your
And then
diary,
Leary
Ted.
got like major producer credit.
Mhm.
Same exact thing.
Yep.
So it's insane. Winona Ryder's responsible for the
Maybe that's
Gilbert
why
Grape
she
movie,
didn't maybe that's why she was able to exile for so many years. She was
and
living off
why the
Gilbert
breakup
Grape.
was so painful, and why the breakup was so painful.
Well, yeah, but she was
He
living off the Gilbert Grape residuals, the producer residuals.
silent partner. But
Yeah.
he got he went down the downward spiral during the Gilbert Grape filming. They had just broken up, right? So he's making this movie and he's thinking, I wouldn't be here if it's for and he's ruminating about her the whole time.
Mhm.
And it's got to be haunting him because she's the reason the movie's even being made.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that until
Mm.
today,
Mm. Good fact.
and most people don't. Like,
99% of people don't. Go ahead, sorry.
and okay, who are the people who are going to be involved in this intervention?
Myself, Christy, his stepfather, his mother, some friends of
Wow,
his. There were about 10 people.
not his real father though.
No, yeah, stepfather.
Depp and his real father have a strange relationship. I can't quite
Mhm.
track it. I'm trying to track it and I can't. It's all over the place. It's weird.
No, down the road we'll have an
Yes,
episode.
different episode, but I'm
Yep,
just trying to. I'm
that's
just
down the
curious why
road.
he's not here.
Yeah.
And did that intervention ever take place?
Yes.
Oh, could you imagine that scene?
I'd like to be a fly on the wall. I mean, that's a tragic thing that you have to do an intervention for somebody, but I still want like audio of it.
Well, back when the Stern Show was good, right? We got a play-by-play
Around
of
these
Artie's
days, yeah.
intervention and Casey's intervention, and
Mhm.
could could you imagine getting that level of detail for this? How
Yeah.
oh my god, I would live to hear
Did they have
some.
to did they have to wipe the snow off Kate Moss's nose to have her join in the intervention too?
She's not mentioned here.
I know, it's weird.
Where is she?
Yeah, the girlfriend, you'd think she would maybe wanna be a part of this.
Well, I'll guarantee you one thing: Sal Janko is definitely here because he's Mister A. He's been sober for years, and I guarantee he tried to spearhead this whole thing.
Yeah, quite possibly.
He's like notoriously like had, I don't know. He sounds like he probably was a maniac in his early 20s, and he's one of
Mhm.
those guys that can't. But then again, then you go into the Viper Room, which is really built on alcohol sales,
Of
right?
course.
So
And other stuff.
you're bartending, but you're not. That's a
Mhm.
great dichotomy. Um, and the intervention. Okay. And what was the outcome of this?
It took place at my house, and the outcome was he left yelling and saying, "I'm not going to rehab," and he didn't.
I give Depp credit. At least he's like, I'm a drinker. I'm going to own it. I'm not going to pretend I'm stopping. I'm not, you know what I mean? He's not even, he wants nothing to do with it. He's not pretending to be sober. He's like, no, I'll drink if I want.
Mhm.
They think it's a problem. I mean, is his career a problem? I don't think so. He's doing some of his best work around that time.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not there. I don't know.
He
There's
probably
more to
was.
life than what movies you do.
Yeah, he was probably quite the bastard though in his
Yep.
personal life, and
And it's
they were
stuff you
fed
never
up.
see him get called, and you don't see him get called on that stuff.
Mhm.
It's a side of him that the fangirls refuse to look at.
Yep.
That has been handed to you. These are additional text messages you gave. These are some of the actually earlier in the time than what we just looked at. I apologize for doing that out of order. These are text messages with someone named Jacques Hughes. Is that Mr. Depp?
Yes.
Depp and your pseudonym, Mr.
Jacques.
Oprah Noodle, Mr. Oprah
Jacques, of
Noodle
course.
Mantra. He loves
French.
fake names.
Yeah.
Yep, yep. So on this first page, 171, you're trying to send him a script. It looks like the movie Labyrinth.
Yes.
Okay, and if you go over to the next page, page 172, near the bottom, you say, I set a meeting up for you on Labyrinth. I've told you we need more money. We're working on that now. Mr. Depp writes you back, there's no need for a meeting if there's no money. You know what I fucking need better than I do, apparently. Oof. And you said, I'm working on getting you more. They know. I told them you would meet, and it helps me to get you more. You can't know if you want to do it unless you meet with the director. You said you would meet, and you should. And then he said, give me the numbers, Tracey. And there's an exchange back and forth. He says, I'm calling you in a second. And you write back, Johnny, I felt so bad after our conversation. I love you so very much. And I want you to know I'll never stop fighting for you. It will all be good again. I promise, Tracey. And he said, it ain't looking good. Toots. Do you do you recall what happened in that conversation, that actual phone conversation?
I think he was referring not exactly, but I not exactly, but I think I know what he was referring to.
Well, you write to him, I felt so bad after our conversation. I take it that the conversation didn't go well, or
I think he was talking about both his career and Amber.
ah,
Mhm.
so emerges the succubus.
Mhm.
Um, he now again, the Depp we know from the Maverick. I don't care about money guy, the artiste. Money is no object. I was not in this for money. I could care less what my fees are. I don't see my own movies. He is screaming at her over enhancing his salary from $6 to $8 million. I mean, this is the real guy in this straits
Mhm.
based on, like, I don't know how much debt he has at this point. We know the final debt, but I don't know what at that point when they're planning to shoot City of Lies. This is probably 2015. She's about to get fired, so it's around that. The movie took a long time to get um, finalized and
Yeah.
out. It took a long time.
Mhm.
Um, so he's fighting with her over money, which I'd never in my life thought I would see. To see this up front, and then if you're the people working on City of Lies, you're going, they're not remotely aware. Like the agent's job is to look like the bad guy,
Yeah.
right? So when you're fighting for money, it's coming from Tracey. not from Depp. The producers and the money people on City of Lies don't know it's really coming from him. Her job is to look like it's coming from her. She's the
Ye-
bad guy.
correct. Exactly.
Yeah, I see. Okay, and yeah, he was also talking about his financial situation in these calls.
Indirectly, yes.
And he certainly understood at that point in time that he was in financial difficulty. Oh, wow, they're answering my question. In financial difficulty, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and if you go to the bottom of page 175, the last two text messages, you say, "I'm at home. You can reach me here on FaceTime if you'd like. I got a call from the producer this morning saying how excited Brad is Brad Furman. He's the director of City of Lies.
Okay.
And he's really I think he's like a pretty big Depp fan, and he wanted him on the movie. Really, really
Mhm.
pursued him. He's the reason the movie's going to get made if he's able to secure him as his lead. So he did a great job too. I love City Lies. I think it's
Mhm.
one of the best movies he's done, and certainly in the last 15 years. Top 3 movies he's done in the last 3 years.
It's at the top of my list of rewatch.
Yeah, I like it better every time I watch it. Very, very clever, put together. I like the 90s, it really feels like you're back in the 90s too when you're watching. Jumps
Yeah.
around. I love that his son's a minor league baseball player. There's a
Mhm.
little subplot in there. By the way, who could have been played if you watch it again? I want you to take note of his son. Doesn't have a lot of speaking lines, if at all. Very, very few. But that could easily be Baker Mayfield. Remember him? He looks exactly like him.
Yeah, I get it. With Baker with a mustache too.
No, totally he does. Baker looks like he could be his son. He's like a young Tom Hansen.
Baker. Breaking
And
my heart
and
even
then
with that mention. Okay.
and then you said, and it's weird, right? Baker is our buddy Ristano, which we'll talk about soon, loves the Alice Cooper Rock and Roll Hall of Fame commercials with Baker Mayfield. My
Mhm.
dream is that Depp is incorporated into these commercials someday with Mayfield.
That'll work.
He's just lost.
I'll take it. I would love that.
Big Miami Dolphin fan, Johnny Depp. Someday Mayfield's going to end up on the Dolphins, and it's all
It's
going to
okay.
come full circle.
I'll forgive him for that.
Um, don't want to bother you. I'm sure I am, though. And Johnny writes back to you and says, I think there's a decent work to be done. Now, Depp's really getting behind the film all of a sudden.
Mhm.
Johnny writes back to you and he says, I think there's decent work to be done on this film. He seems like a good guy, and if it can bring home some truth to the tragedy of these ignorant murders, I will try. Plus, ain't no other offers, so I'll do it. Do you see that?
Yes.
So apparently this is Depp kind of admitting the offers are running dry.
Mhm.
And not coming in. He's had a few bombs in a row.
The clouds have
He's
parted for a brief time
yeah,
during this period of time.
and he knows this is the best thing he's getting, and he's taking it. And this is what it's like when you don't have every offer in Hollywood,
Mhm.
which can be a good thing in some ways.
Yep.
Okay, and if you go to the bottom, if you go to page 177 at the bottom, you write, I need to speak to you regarding the schedule on a movie. Brad told me he wants to hiatus for a couple of weeks for you to gain weight for the role. I made a deal for 6 consecutive weeks, but you may need time to get ready. Need to hear your thoughts on that. And he writes, I'm going to stand my ground. I will not sacrifice my health for a dim shot that pays peanuts and thinks that they are superior to Raging Bull on their deals and power and prosthetics and some belly ass stuffing. Sorry, I've been doing this shit for a lot longer than him. I know how it works. Find more mom happy messages because I need some space to do my job. They'll need more dough or shut their traps. Remember Scott Cooper? And
Okay,
you write back and say, what?
can you decipher that for me?
Yeah,
Okay.
I speak fluent
I know.
Deppinese. Raging Bull is a reference to Robert De Niro's
Yes.
weight gaining and that. So he's telling him, you are not, I am not getting my $25 million to screw around, jamming 2 dozen donuts a day. This better work out. I don't think this is a long shot. Don't tell Brad Furman to tell me how to work my own craft. I've been doing this since the 80s. Brad Furman's basically Generation X. I think he's like in his late 40s.
Okay, I get
So now
that.
we're at a time now. It's like it's a shame. It sucks. you know, life has moved on
Mhm.
in a way that I won't even acknowledge that there's directors like my age that are starstruck by him, are certainly, obviously, and younger and much younger now. And it's tough for someone pushing 60 to be told what to do by someone who's not been doing it close to, and he has never been spoken to. He can't handle this directive. He knows, Brad Furman's probably a fanboy in a way, and
So
he's now insulted, and he's not getting his usual fee, and he feel his ego is really really being knocked around here.
but what does "find more mom happy messages" mean?
He thinks he's probably read a version of the script, and it's too hallmarky to him. It's too much schmaltz and
Okay.
cliches, and
And
he's not happy with the current iteration of the script. This is me again translating Deppenese.
yes, and remind me, what's the Scott Cooper?
Scott Cooper is the director of Black Mass,
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
and
All
there
right,
were
I'm on track.
similar issues on Black Mass,
Yes, all
telling
right.
him. You remember the thing
The
with Whitey
prosthetics
Bulge?
and
Yes, the Whitey
yeah.
Bulge, exactly the same thing.
Okay, all right. I'm on track here. Okay.
Again, I admire you. Almost, I mean, it's tough. It should be translated. That's not easy, but it's again, if you're Brad Furman and Scott Cooper, you're reading this and going, "You son of a bitch!
Mhm.
You talk to me a certain way, and you're ripping me to shreds to your agent all the time. I didn't know you felt that way. Like you could have come to me with this.
Yeah. Well,
They, if
imagine
do you think they got a hold of this? Do you think those the two directors saw this?
no, but imagine though too, we've talked about this in previous episodes. Imagine all of your text messages to everybody over the last 5 years are suddenly made public.
Oh, I know. I would be mortified.
Yeah.
I would be. It would make me my jump out of my skin
Mhm.
like all day long, thinking about, oh my god, that person saw that. Oh my god, I said that. That's
I
gonna be seen.
I would do a Winona Ryder exile and never be
Yeah,
heard
I would.
from.
I don't care who you are. We all have embarrassing
Yeah.
texts and secrets and emails and stuff. We are totally embarrassed about, or it's just um, geared towards a very specific person.
Mhm.
And we have a tendency to trash people we love to other people for whatever reason.
And to celebrate this conversation, I will post all of the text messages I have sent to you so I can exile and
Yeah, yeah.
drop away from this world for a bit.
So
Okay.
before you judge, depth too harshly, we have all had exchanges like this
Oh,
with people.
you
We
don't
have
think anybody else is going to see this? Oh, just humiliating.
we have smeared friends and family members to other friends and family members that tell us what we want to hear, just like this. But again, I think those two this is pretty hardcore stuff. I mean, these two directors are probably just like, if they see this, and I'm not even sure they ever will. Right? Why would they even stumble onto this? This is hard to find.
Yeah.
This
Mhm.
is not easy to get a hold of this transcript. It's not. We didn't have to knock over. We didn't have to knock over Fort Knox and go to David Geffen's vaults to see this. But um, this is not easy. You really got to dig for this.
Yeah.
And those two probably would, if they did see this, you'd be like, "You two-faced son of a bitch! You told me that." And this is
Mhm.
you're trashing me to your agent like this every day, and all you talk about is money, Mister Artiste.
Yeah.
This is crazy stuff, man. This is why the fangirls won't acknowledge this transcript.
I know. He was talking about Black Mass, and when he signed on, Scott wanted him to look closer to Whitey Bulger and not really look more like Johnny Depp himself. And Johnny wanted to play less prosthetics and more himself, and Johnny won the argument.
Now, again, real quick, the Depp chameleon was supposedly more into, and he said, I mean, there's quotes and quotes and quotes from many, many projects he's done. I'm all for the disappearing, way back to Jump Street, where he claims that he told the producers, like, I don't want to look like Tom Hansen. I want to go full on and character and put on as much prosthetics and disappear, and everything he does, even when he played Trump in The Art of the Deal, he's supposed to be into obscuring his matinee idol looks at all costs. That's supposed to be his thing. Now it's contrary to all that here. He wants to look more like himself. He doesn't want to deal with prosthetics,
Mm-hmm.
which is not for Bulger. You damn well better be doing the
You
whole
have
thing. You
to.
look nothing like him. They could
You
have
have.
cast anybody.
You
They
need the
could have
skull
cast
cap. Yeah.
yes. They could have cast Kurtwood Smith, who looks exactly like him without even trying.
Mm-hmm.
Not that he do as good a job, but
No.
I mean, Nicholson played Bulger. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. What's the movie?
Yeah, in the Departed.
Oh, okay. All right.
Did you ever see it?
No.
Yeah, Nicholson plays basically Whitey Bulger without saying the name. He kind of looks like him anyway, basically playing Nicholson. He's not as he always does. He's
Mm-hmm.
playing Jack, playing Whitey Bulger. And Depp is a chameleon. Depp's Bulger is way more impressive from an acting standpoint, virtuoso acting standpoint. But
Mm-hmm.
as it turns out, he didn't want to go full prosthetics. But Johnny looks nothing like Whitey Bulger.
Yeah.
And you've got to. You have to cut. It really surprises me that Mr. Chameleon would kind of contradict himself here.
Yeah.
It's
Whitey
crazy to
Bulger
me.
didn't have the floppy hair and the skull rings. You gotta earn that money, even if it's not what you
1/18th
want.
Cherokee
Yeah.
cheekbones.
Didn't have a WINO Forever tattoo and a sparrow tattoo on his
It's,
hand.
there, I tell you, just quickly, actors. I've caught Depp's tattoos leaking onto. I think you could see his 3 tattoo on his finger in From Hell. There's times where they just don't bother covering them up. It's like too much.
Yeah.
And I'm going, dude, how hard could it be? Can you really not cover the tattoos? What
Mm-hmm.
are they saying? When you go to court, cover your tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't they have that rule in a movie?
And you're in the UK. They don't mind a man wearing gloves, like those formal little
Yeah,
butler gloves.
I've seen Depp's tattoos leak out in so many movies.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to look for. But I tell you, the producers and directors' worst nightmare now is the tattoo explosion in Hollywood, because now
Mhm.
they got to cover them up in every movie. It's like the first order of business. And seriously, every poser has a tattoo now, and they got to
Mhm.
cover them up. Um. Okay, where are we? Okay, again, you write. You are okay. Okay, on page 179, Johnny writes in the middle of the page. He said, "I'm not changing what I fucking do for anybody. Would he or would anyone like to argue my choices? Find another goddamn film and tell him to keep making the safe bullshit." Wow, wow, wow.
Mhm.
I mean, and obviously she didn't say that back to him.
No.
Again, if these people get a hold of this, and then you wrote, "No one wants you to change anything." He asked me, and I said no. Now Tracy's got to be the translator back. She can't obviously repeat what he said to her,
Mhm.
and she's got
She has
to
to put it in nice
re
terms.
yeah, she's got to
Nice but
rearrange
firm
that.
terms. Mhm.
That is so great. Think about this. I'm not changing what I fucking do for anybody.
Or you want to get
Would he,
paid? You have to put on a skull cap. Sorry.
would he or would anyone like to argue my choices? Find another goddamn film and tell him to keep making that safe bullshit.
Bravo. That's good.
And then you wrote, "No one wants you to change anything." He asked me, and I said, "No." What is he referring to there, Ms. Jacobs?
He is referring to the look that he wants to do in this film as well.
Okay, and he eventually got his way, did you say?
Well, I didn't represent him by the time he shot the movie, so I'm not exactly sure.
How did that look work for him in the movie?
I don't know.
She can't see the movie. She's
Mm.
so
I wouldn't.
she's so divorced from him in
Mhm.
every way. She can't even bear to go, no matter what the movie is. She thinks, I didn't get my percentage. This reminds me of the worst time in my professional life. I'm not seeing any of this crap. I can't.
Yeah, it's like,
I
what
can't.
the
It's
fuck do
too
I care?
painful.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
That's so crazy. Okay, on the next page, 180 on Tuesday, August 16th, 2016, or the day before, you said just checking in. It's almost like a coach getting fired, and his
Mhm.
team goes on to play in like the playoffs, and the coach
Yeah.
can't watch his former players. And everyone is working on all of this. It will work out. I love you. And then you write back, I'm really happy for you that this is all settled. So things will be better now. I know that's been awful. And now you can move on. We're focused on the work. Is that referring to his divorce? Do you know?
Yes.
The way they dance, like the vagueness and the euphemism. You're
Mhm.
not bringing up any proper names. Here comes Brett Ratner. Can only mean bad things. And then you were also trying to get him Brett Ratner told you he had some scripts he was interested in. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay, did any movies come out of that?
There was one movie. This is before Brett became Brett, but there was one movie that he had given him that we really liked called The Libertine. But unfortunately, it was just about a relationship between a diplomat in New York and his raping the maid, which was based on the story of Dominique Strauss. And after what happened with Amber, Johnny couldn't do the movie. Understandable.
Yeah, there's another Libertine. This is the second. This is so stupid. I'm so tired of the Libertine. I don't want to ever see that goddamn movie title again. I want it out of his life. I don't want to hear it come up again. And Harvey Weinstein apparently was about. He did a movie called The Libertine in the early 2000s. It's a bore. I fell asleep. It's got a huge white wig on. I want nothing to do with it. It's one of my least favorite Depp movies of all time. He thinks it's some artistic
Of course.
masterpiece or whatever. I absolutely could care less. I had no interest. I'd never watched it twice, and it was impossible to say for me to ever not see a Depp movie twice. But it's I don't know what he sees in it. I
Hmm.
truly don't.
I didn't even bother.
And then they tried to remake it again with Weinstein years later. I am so tired of that title. Burn in hell. Go away, Libertine. When you say you couldn't do the movie, you mean,
I think she sneezes. Excuse me.
oh, bless you.
Shouldn't do the movie.
Okay, was that your recommendation to him?
Yes.
Okay, and did he agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, and shouldn't do the movie because the subject matter obviously would remind people of what happened with Amber.
Yes.
Well, this succubus has ruined scripts now he's taking that she has nothing to do. She has infected this cancer, this succubus.
This is part of the defamation though too, because he has to
Yeah,
prove that he's lost work because of her allegations.
good point.
I think
That's a
he's
really
done
good
it.
point. Yep. Objection to the form of a question. Okay, then on page 182, your third text down, you say they have asked if he would reduce his fee from $8 to $6 million for 6 weeks, as the budget has been too high to get funds for financing. That's again, is that the labyrinth again you're talking about?
Yes.
And Johnny goes, it doesn't seem to be. It doesn't seem to be in my best interest to reduce my fee at this time. And I'm sure you understand. What kind of film do they even want? Some film that will rattle folks? And that's the very beginning of your audience. And again, you indicated that ultimately he did do the movie for $6 million.
Yes.
But did it take a long time to get there?
Yes.
If you go to the bottom of page 183, excuse me, in the middle of 183, he writes, I will be in Spain, aside from dropping Lily-Rose. I will then finish up my ADR for Sherlock. It's not Holmes, it's Gnomes. My ADR for Sherlock Gnomes and come back to Spain afterwards. Or Sherlock Gnomes,
Yeah.
Gnomes.
Mhm.
Do you see that?
Yes.
And on the next page in 184, he writes back to you,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I said, so excuse me, on as we go down from there, you also wrote to him that Warner's had a great test for Fantastic Beasts last night. And Sue Kroll said you're terrific. Do you see that?
Yes.
And who is she?
She was then president of distribution and marketing
Right.
at Warner's.
Okay, and you said, and Johnny said she likes the character. And you said loves. She wants to talk to you directly. She said she texted and called. I told her you had been traveling. Warner's is very happy. Also, Brett Ratner called me last night about his movie. Do you see that?
Yes.
And then at the bottom, the name is blocked out, but somebody called and asked how you were and wanted to send you his best. And then on the, I don't know who that is, but on the next page, he writes, please tell them that I'm hanging in there. Much appreciation for his concern. Tell him that I said, quote, one day it will make for a very funny book. And he goes on from there. And you can read that to yourself. Near the end, he says, looking forward to selling my fucking book with my fucking words and only truth. Not going to not going to pretty up anything. Words and all, as they said, when will I work? Need money. X. Do you see that?
Yes.
Had you negotiated a deal for him to write a book?
No.
Do you know, had anyone else at UTA negotiated a deal?
No.
Okay, let me fill you. I mean, you read the famous 2018
The
Rolling Stone piece,
GQ.
right?
Yeah, but wasn't the book talked
And the
about in the
GQ
GQ?
article
Okay.
that followed it.
Mm-hmm.
He apparently is writing a book, and I think the writer at GQ had stumbled into his bedroom
Yeah.
and
He went to
saw
use the yeah, he went
notes.
went to use the restroom and
Yes.
had to exit out through that one of the chateau bedrooms in
Yeah,
France.
yeah, yeah.
And
As one does, right? We all
yeah,
relate, right?
and yeah,
Civilians listening to this.
mhm. Passed by the computer, and on the computer he started to read what was on the computer, which
I
appeared to be
love
a book.
snooping around, opening drawers, and
I do the same thing. I'd hit print and print
and
out a couple pages.
the big moment, right? I mean, I remember it flashes back to Miramar, Florida, and Depp is wailing on a palm tree with a baseball bat
Mhm.
in frustration, in some kind of teen angst rage fit on the front lawn,
Mhm.
right? Isn't that like right out of the?
I believe so.
Yeah, that's how I remember it. I assume it's got something to do with his mother,
Yes, that's when he would beat
some
the
weird
tree.
fight. Yeah. You wrote in response to his request for work and money, I'm working on all fronts. We will find the right job. Got you $5 million in advance in October from Warner Brothers. She's obsessed with advances. It's
Mhm.
constantly now it's in that mode. Now you got $5 million in advance in October from Warner Brothers for Fantastic Beasts. Also, Burkus and I got your Disney overhead extended on additional 6 months while we figure out if China happens. I have no intention of letting you down. And what is the benefit of having his back end extended for 6 months?
It's not his back end, it's his overhead that supports the company because his overhead was almost 3 million a year, and that paid all the employees, including Christie at his company. And we went to see Alan Horn, who's the chairman of Disney, and Sean Bailey, the president, and essentially groveled for an additional year. There was no love between Johnny and Disney given the Pirates 5 situation,
He's
but
never
for
going to
us,
work for them again.
no. But for us, they agreed to extend it so he wouldn't have no deal and no way to pay his people.
So you got an additional 6 months
An additional $1 million for him to continue paying his staff.
to keep the production company alive.
Yes.
Okay, all right. If you go to page 187,
Can I take a break?
yes, yes.
Sorry.
No, no, that's fine. The time in the monitor is 3:16 p.m. We're going off the record now. This is the end of Media 2 and the deposition of Tracey Jacobs. Off the record. Good afternoon. We're back on the record. Time and video monitor is 3:31 p.m. in the afternoon. This is the beginning of Media 3 and the deposition of Tracey Jacobs. Please continue. Ms. Jacobs, we're looking at Exhibit 75 in front of you. If you could turn to page 207. And before this, has Mr. Depp ever told you that he had been diagnosed as bipolar? That
No.
makes two of us. That makes two. Both have bad vision, both bipolar.
you're connected for life. No.
Okay, looking at page 207 at the bottom. This is, again, early in October of 2016, for example. On Saturday, October 1st, you write, say, "How are you? Will I see you soon?" The next day, Sunday, October 7th, 2nd, you say, "Great teaser trailer for Pirates 5." She hates it. She's got to tell him how great the teaser trailer. Looks great. Disney is getting a great response. And then turn to the next page, which is a few days later. Oh, excuse me, I guess 4 days later. And he writes to you, "Tracy, thank you for managing the request and my acquisition of $5 million advance from Ferocious Beasts." So does he screw up the name there? Like he's
I
so
probably.
unengaged.
Yeah, probably. It goes along with the theme.
He just could care less. And he's kind of slightly embarrassed inside that he's doing a Harry Potter 10th sequel and he never thought he'd be doing it. And he's kind of latched on to the franchise and he could care less what the adjective is. And ferocious, fantastic, fanatical, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
give him my
Whatever.
give
Just
me
get
my
me that
5 mil.
advance.
It will go a long way to allow me to dig myself out of this agonizing quagmire. Now there's the Lord Byron speak, right? Kevin Smith talks about him writing like
Hmm.
my agonizing quagmire. Though, to be honest, I'm somewhat taken aback that the commission would be charged by anyone at this particular point in my recent and agonizing struggles. As you, Jim, Jerry, and Jake know, I've been slipping on a greasy razor's edge. Look at this Thompson, right? This Thompson prose. Myself and I would have expected that you all would have waived it, or at least wait for it. It's been extremely worrying year for me. I'm surprised it wasn't offered. I understand that this business is business. However, when I have been buried underground, you would only dig up 10% of the smothering dirt.
Ugh.
X
Okay.
J. Oh God! Again, the Lord Byron Thompson writing
Hmm.
is exquisite. He's just picture him that typing that but again, to expect this agency, people who are not nearly as wealthy as you,
Yeah.
none of
Yeah.
these executives are. This is
Hmm.
a rare case of talent out money out earning the executives. I mean, how does he know? Like, what are Tracy's? By the way, and this is nothing against. Not that there's anything wrong with it, as we all love to quote Seinfeld, um, almost irritatingly now. Do you think Tracy Jacobs is a lesbian?
I don't know.
It's hitting me now. Right? She's not married. She's never. There's no. You'd think by now in this transcript there'd be some hint of her immediate family, right? She'd have a husband, she would have some kids. There's nothing all
I don't
these
know.
years.
I don't know if it would come out in this.
I've seen her at many a pool hall on the Sunset Strip.
In leather pants.
You don't think she played on the Disney softball team in the late
I don't.
'80s?
I don't know. Whatever
again,
you.
again, I truly mean this. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I'm saying it is strange that we have been poking into Tracy Jacobs' life so intimately through this transcript, and I've been following this man's career since Jump Street, and there is no mention of her having anything close to a significant other, boyfriend, kids, whatever. I'm just saying, could that be possible?
Anything is possible, especially now. But I don't. I just don't know that we would get it in this.
Do you get it? Does your gaydar go off when you look at her in this
No,
picture?
I know nothing about the woman. There's like 3 photos of her online that I can find.
And it's
Um, I don't get a read on her at all.
okay. Okay.
5.
Yours. I'm going on.
Do you
Do you
recall?
recall receiving these text messages?
Yes.
What did you think when you received it?
I thought he didn't want to pay commission.
Yeah, I mean he's really trying to. It's it's crazy. He's trying to weasel out of this, but it's on him, and they're trying to prove that he has recklessly spent that you could have the audacity to ask this huge agency to forego their 10%. And this isn't
Mhm.
peanuts. This is 5 million. This is his front end.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Do you think he wrote that?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay, then any idea who did?
Yes.
Who?
Ed White.
All right. So then you wrote and said, I don't want there to be any misunderstanding. Can we talk not over text? He writes back, I don't know how my message gave you the idea that I misunderstand. Seemed pretty straightforward from my end.
Ugh.
Were you surprised at that response?
No.
Okay, you say, this is like it's not the same guy, right? This is just like
Mhm.
a completely different human being. Okay, you say, I don't know what was conveyed to you. I'd rather talk on the phone when you can. And then you wrote back, I'll speak to you when I can. Do you recall if you spoke to him after this text message exchange with him before he terminated you?
No.
Okay, and if you could turn to page 211, I'm sorry, at the bottom of 210, you say, I think you're back. I'd love to see you. Did you get my text about Donna Langley? And then you said, I need to speak to your labyrinth. A money issue came up today when we need to discuss it. This is an issue with the financing that came up this afternoon. And you go on to say, hopefully you can reach me by tomorrow so I can go through it with you. And you wrote back, how much financing has been lost? And it goes on from there. You respond, and he writes, just tell me who I need to speak to. And as I'm sure there, I can locate that in a very short period of time. You responded, the producer Miriam Siegel, can we speak? You then, with no response, you said, I don't want to cut your fee. I said, no, I'd like to give you details. I also don't want the movie to go down. Christy said, you were excited about this film. Can I see you Friday afternoon, early evening? I miss you and want to catch up. I'd also like to bring you the Francis Bean
Oh.
Cobain painting.
I want to see that too. I want that painting.
You are a very massive Nirvana fan, right? In fact, all the Seattle grunge guys, which I am, but I'm not as encyclopedic as you, not even close.
I
Um,
think you're as big of a fan. I just know more of the history and the
well,
personal workings of the relationships in the bands. Go
I'm more
ahead.
of a Mookie Blaylock, Pearl Jam, rename kind of guy.
Mhm.
Um, but can you tell me, was Frances Bean Cobain some kind of crazy painter now? Is
If
she just
you
like,
what I suspect, Kurt Cobain was, I guess, art's subjective, of course, but,
yes?
if you look at the 2 albums, Incesticide, which is the B-side album, and a lot of the artwork for In Utero, he put those collages and sculptures together that were used. He also had a few paintings. They were in an exhibit that was up at the Pop Culture Museum in Seattle that I went to.
So somehow
But
Depp is obsessed with, somehow got involved in the paintings of Frances Bean Cobain.
I suspect her paintings are probably very similar to her father's style. Again, probably the most famous is the back cover of In Utero with the fetuses and the cover of Incesticide. That's what I would refer to if you want any type of idea on what her style probably is.
Have you ever seen what her painting goes for, money wise? Is there any?
No, I've never seen a price. I believe I glanced at one of her paintings before, and it is similar.
It's crazy. And he needs to be attached to all things rock and
All I can tell
roll,
you,
Hall of Fame.
price, much like all art, it's overpriced, I'm
Of
sure.
course, of course. Give me a Neil Adams Aquaman versus Red Tornado any day over that.
Yeah, I agree
You
with
know what I
you.
mean?
Mhm,
You know what I mean?
mhm.
Give me a George Perez Captain America versus Batman and Marvel versus DC any day.
Alright, I agree.
And then on October 20th, which is the next day, he writes in capital letters, give me Miriam Siegel's number. I need it now. And then there's a couple of text messages. I don't know what your response is.
They're the numbers.
They're the numbers. And he writes, give me Miriam Siegel's number, exclamation, exclamation,
Ugh,
exclamation. I
Is that
just sent you both numbers. Then you sent it again. Got it? Do you have them? And he writes, I need it now! Exclamation. You write, I sent it twice. Look on your text. You dullard. Then probably the number again. Did you get it? You have it there 3 times. Got it? I sent Ed the numbers. Did you reach Miriam? No response on that day, which was the 20th. The next day, the 21st, you write, did you ever receive Donna Langley's text? She said she reached out to you and didn't hear back. This is the Invisible Man and the Phantom. I hope P5 is great. I've heard it is. Doug Brinkley called me today to see how you're doing. I hope. And then over the weekend, on the following Monday, you said, I hope Labyrinth works out. Hope you're well. I miss you. Okay, let's give you a little clarification on
mm-hmm.
Douglas Brinkley is a Hunter S. Thompson affiliate
Okay.
friend. He's a kind of a Rolling Stone writer, and he knows him through Thompson. He was at the funeral where he launched the ashes in the air with the $5 million cannon.
Okay.
And there's another reference in here I should clear up. Okay, The Invisible Man and the Fan never got made.
All right.
The Invisible Man is an attempt, and it's actually a Vanity Fair cover, I think. They were attempting to make the public domain monster universe a la Marvel and DC. And there was going to
Mm-hmm.
be Tom Cruise and the Mummy. Depp was going to play the Invisible Man, as if we need another one of those.
No.
The Wolfman, Frankenstein, on and on, Dracula. They were going to make a attempt at a Marvel Cinematic Universe using all those public domain monster characters, and it never happened. I think Russell Crowe is going to play Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and it just all fell apart. I think the Cruise Mummy movie bombed, and it destroyed everything in its path.
Mm-hmm.
Let's wait.
I do remember that.
Okay, line 5. Tuesday, October 25th. I've been thinking about you a lot. We haven't seen each other for almost 6 months. I'd really like to see you on back Thursday. Would it be possible this weekend? Please let me know. And now you get a response that day, and this is the day before, 2 days before he terminated you.
Yes.
He writes back, I need to speak with you. I know you're in London. Let me know when it's a good time to call you. You say, call me now. And if you'd like, and you give him a number, I assume.
Yes.
He says, give me 20 minutes, okay? And then you write back, isn't it early there? And he says, yeah, it's 4 a.m. Call you in a bit. You said, okay, I'm going to lunch soon. Again, you're in London, correct?
Yes.
I'll give my phone out, ready to speak to you. XX, whenever you're ready, I'll be there. And he writes back, just hit me when your lunch is over, sweetheart. Not a problem. Now he's laying on the
Mm-hmm.
arm. And then you write back, are we okay? I can speak whenever. And he said, just don't want to interrupt your lunch. You're more important, right? Don't worry about that. And he writes, I'm in the studio. And you say, this is way more important than any fucking lunch, XXX. And he writes, just hit me when you're finished. And you write, you said, I don't know if I'll survive this. And you go on for a few more texts. I'll be in my room if you want to talk. He said, are you in the room? This is now several hours, some number of hours later. Hit me up when you can talk. And you said, I'm up. And then you said a number of additional emails, but there's no response. And now we know you have a phone call with him. I think you had testified earlier that he sent you a number of text messages and you had you had thought something was up. Are those the text messages we're referring to?
Yes.
Okay, I don't have any further questions. Hi, Miss Jacob. Oh, are we gonna stop here?
Yeah, let's stop here. We can
Mr.
pick
Chu?
this up later.
Okay, yeah, so the new lawyer, well, there's a cross-examination by Benjamin Chu,
Mm-hmm.
and we are set to stop here, right? This is
Yeah, we're going to pick
this is a
this up
different
next.
cross-examination.
Yeah, we'll pick this up on our next series of Tracey Jacobs.
So it is page 205 in the actual transcript, and then 235 on the left side.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, now we're going to finish up with our questions and comments segment, right? You
Mm-hmm.
have a batch in front of you.
I do. Bear with me a second.
I screenshotted them for you and sent them to you.
Yeah, I have them. I'm waiting for them to come up here. Okay, so from YouTube in our last video, I think part 3 of the Tracey Jacobs saga. Oh goodness, Melissa, I'm so sorry, Melissa. Melissa Vander, I'm going to mess this up. Vet. Okay. Hi, Sarah and John. Am absolutely obsessed with your podcast. I'd love for you guys to someday take a deeper dive into the Hollywood vampire saga and especially the financial aspect of it. Hopefully, one day someone with experience in the music industry can give us some insights. I remember those meet and greet tickets cost over $1,000. Wow. I wonder if all those people got their money back by now after the tour got canceled due to COVID. I bought Golden Circle tickets, 114 euros each for their tour in 2020. Excuse me. And I'm still waiting for my refund.
Wow, and that's wow, Missy, more like golden shower tickets.
Yeah.
Huh? The way this turned out. What do I do? I write her back, right? What do I say back to her? I don't want to repeat myself.
Yep. Thank you, Melissa. We might refer to you as Missy or your trademark handle, MVDV. You're a character. When we read this on our next show, if that's okay. We very much are doing a Hollywood Vampires episode soon. As you know, I'm not a HV advocate, Hollywood Vampires. I tie them directly to the bad film decisions Depp makes. The
Yes.
more involved he is with that band. We may also pick your brain a little more as to what else you experienced here.
Yes.
You use big words. It's hard to read when I'm trying not to cough. Watch Depp methodically play dinosaur rock covers on a redundant guitar. There always appears to be 4 guitarists on stage, and who the F knows who's making what sound, doing nothing for me, and has nothing to do with why I became a Depp head. The world has enough guitarists, but there's only one Johnny Depp, super chameleon thespian.
Amen. Amen. Whoever wrote that.
That was you.
This floored by her. That was me. That was me writing it back. Yeah. I again, and Sarah will back me up on this. We are going to do a Hollywood Vampires at least one episode, or how it all started. I'm sorry for your loss of a grand. That's
I hope
crazy
you
to
get it
me.
back. Maybe it's just
Does Tracey
delayed.
Jacobs get a cut of this? No, she doesn't. Does
No,
she get 10%? No.
no.
So, does she get $100? See, this is the problem. And I tell you, Missy, MVDV, I think it comes up later in this very transcript we're reading when we do part 5. Alice Cooper's manager is apparently a real huckster scumbag, and he supposedly screwed Depp out of um, much earnings on the tour, where he was like passing up scripts. And one of the many problems that Hollywood Vampires presents for Depp's film career and obstacles, and we just it just is just antithetical to him going forward as a film actor and getting great scripts. So apparently they screwed Depp out of. I mean, let's face it. What percentage of that audience is fangirls to see him
Yeah,
when they do a tour?
I'll tell you,
Are we splitting it
90.
evenly? Are they really splitting it evenly with Joe Perry and Alice Cooper and Duff McKagan? Are they really splitting it a quarter each? Because Depp, it sounds like he isn't playing hardball
I
with
think
that money wise.
he's just happy to be there. But
Yeah,
I have a feeling that's why he's probably just willingly getting screwed on this.
yeah, for the love of music. And is it music? You're doing covers. You're
I know.
playing guitar, and like I said, it's muffled. There's 4 guitarists on stage. He's staring at his feet, and the arms are locked in that rigor mortis kind of mode where the joints aren't moving. And I'm just going, it's so honest. He's not making any eye contact with
He's
the
got
crowd or anything like that.
that Nick Chubb stiff arm going on.
And when he sings Heroes, that's a different story. I like that. I'll take him singing. He's out for his very,
He's fine.
bringing back the Sweeney Todd David Bowie impression. springing heroes, and he knows it. And Alice Cooper forced him to sing because Alice Cooper knows where his bread and butter. They're there to see him. You got to have him up there featured at least once or twice during a. But yeah, apparently Alice Cooper's manager is a real bastard and miser, and there's a big controversy that's coming up in this transcript about Tracey Jacobs goes after Alice Cooper's manager when the Hollywood vampires first rear their ugly heads uh, in 2015, I believe it is. And there's a follow. Does MVDV write back to that?
Yeah, I
This is good.
I
I
closed
just
it
saw that
out.
before we went on.
Okay. Sure, I'm fine with whatever CB handle you give me. I've been a Depphead since forever, and I'm grateful to have met so many marvelous, eccentric souls fighting for truth, including JD. But I feel like somewhere along the road, this thing called toxic positivity developed within the fandom. Ultimately, a denial of reality, in my opinion. Hearing your opinions and analysis is truly refreshing. Thank you very much. I've been to an HV concert, Hollywood Vampires, but their last record is completely different than their first. Whereas their first album is a tribute to their fallen heroes, the second one consists mainly of original material. I love Johnny's songwriting and his witty references to his times in the destructive roaring rapids. I don't know anything about guitars, but whatever Johnny starts playing slide, I can't help but think of this clip. Haha. And then she attaches a clip in the comments. I didn't
Yeah,
even know they had two
supposedly
albums.
this
I
is
didn't even know they had two albums out.
yeah. I did, but I know that I'll give you this. I certainly will give you this. I'm way more interested in his songwriting than I am doing dinosaur rock beat to
Yeah.
death covers of the top 50 on that tired classic rock station in your town that play the same Led Zeppelin and Aerosmith over and over again, and ACDC, and I just can't listen to it anymore. Um,
Mhm.
so him writing his own music, yeah, I would love to, like during the vampire episode we do, to analyze his lyrics and see what we come up with to get in his head.
Mhm.
Like I said, I speak fluent Japanese, and we will break those down, those lyrics, and see what the hidden message is. If it's not so hidden, why does it have to be hidden all the time? Can it be just blatant? So let's see what. I'm definitely going to go through that. But again, thank you so much for that response. I totally get it. I love how you put what she said, toxic positivity.
Mhm.
See, that'd be a great name for a podcast, right? If you, we can almost like a podcast comes out, the toxic positivity podcast, and it
I
analyzes when, you
I
know,
would listen just for the title.
yeah, right. You
Yeah.
just need the title or a great movie
Mhm.
title, right? Toxic positivity. It really says it all. That's really well put. That describes all the enabling fangirls that won't acknowledge anything, any misstep that he does, and all the turds he's chosen. And he made his own bed with the succubus, and he needs to take accountability for that, home wrecking himself and being just as culpable as she is.
I agree. It's a good segue into our next topic. I agree, but no man should be falsely accused of what he's been accused of.
Of course not. Of course,
I
and he
know.
is
I just want to say that
a semi-victim in
because
this.
we're going off in the next couple episodes probably on this topic.
Um, Okay, thank you, MDV, and we will be picking your brain about the Hollywood vampires. And on, please write whatever you feel necessary. I believe you have a blog out there somewhere, right? And I will be checking that out as well. I'm sure it's fantastic. I
Mhm.
know it is based on those comments. If it's anything like that, I'm sure it's
Yeah,
fantastic.
great comments.
And are you an American? I can't. We're trying to figure out that name. I don't know why I get European tinges from you, but just you don't. If you want to give us your origins, it would be great. Um,
God, if English is her second language,
I
which
know that's what I was thinking. She
she
writes better.
speaks
She
better
knows
than I
English better
do.
than I do easily. She writes and speaks better than I do. I'm sure, and that's I know no other dialect. Um, I know Atlantean. Um, so on to I believe David.
Final vague depth connection. I work in film music in LA and got to attend one of the scoring sessions for Public Enemies. It was the day before Halloween in 2008 at the Sony scoring stage. Director Michael Mann was there in the booth where I had to sit, and he seemed like a hard ass. It was a pretty tense atmosphere. Anyway, nothing to do with Depp per se. Oh, I can't read more. You just sent me a screenshot. There's a read
No,
more.
I think that's the gist of it. That's the
Okay.
gist of it. And I think that's virtually the whole thing. If it cut off, I'm sorry, but I don't think it goes much more than maybe a sentence or a phrase more. But
What fit there was good enough.
yeah, I don't know how familiar you are with Michael Mann. No,
I know of him. I don't know
okay.
him.
He's the Miami Vice creator,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
right? So he go on and he became a film director and stuff, and so I love Public Enemies. It's one of my, like I said, Depp owns the crime biopic genre like nobody's. I think it's his best
I have a
genre
massive
easily.
poster in my living room.
Oh, I've seen that. It's got the smirk. He's got the John Dillinger
Yeah, it's
reenactment
the mugshot.
smirk.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That is so phenomenal. And this dude, this. Yeah. By the way, bring in David to play with the Hollywood vampires. Then maybe I'll be an advocate for it. Get a violinist in there, right?
There's some
This guy's
violin on
played at the
Heroes.
Viper. Get him. He's like a. I bet you this David plays 5 different. I bet you he plays more instruments than Prince. And who are the guys that play the multiple instruments? Prince and Beck, right?
Oh God,
There's
I
like
don't know.
5 of
I
them.
think so.
I bet you
Trent
this
Reznor,
dude is
your
Trent Reznor.
favorite Trent Reznor.
No,
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to like him more now. You were
Dave
hipping
Grohl.
me on what? Yeah, I like his stance on Marilyn Manson.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Grohl.
Yep.
I think this David would really be a beautiful twist to the Hollywood vampire. I wonder if David can sing. You think he can sing? Is that the
Probably better
one
than
thing he won't
Alice
do?
Cooper.
That's, um, imagine him playing "School's Out" with the violin.
I'd pay money.
So on to Michael Mann. So I remember, I was curious about him too, and I remember Depp negotiating to do Public Enemies, and he had met him. Michael Mann's from St. Louis, so he has that Midwestern drab, banal kind of personality on the low end. And I remember, and so Depp met with him at a St. Louis Blues game
Okay.
to talk about doing the movie and stuff. I remember reading about that. So I bought the Blu-ray of Public Enemies, and I'm obsessed with. I try to watch all the director's commentaries. I want to get into that.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these things, there's no energy. There's like a gun to their head when they do it. They are not giving you much. They are angry. They have to do it. There's no energy. There's no personality. There's no bite to anything they say. So I'm listening to this, and I got the same sense that you get, David, from listening to the director's commentary. He's flat and hard and cold, and I got nothing of a personality. I sometimes wonder how these guys direct a film, running the show. I just don't. I got a real cold vibe out of him. I got a real flat, cold. I don't want to say soulless. It's a little melodramatic, but yeah, I not a very warm guy to be around. And I got that just off the director's commentary. I couldn't agree more.
Mm-hmm.
My experience, I'm more traumatized by that than you are by your experience. How about that?
I get
But I'd
it.
love to hear more. That's how. I mean, this kid is. This is where talent rises. This is one instance where like talent actually rises to the top. That he gets to kind of make a living in doing scores and soundtracks, and that's what he's the next John Williams, or maybe he's the next oh God, why am I blanking on his damn name? The Tim Burton musical score guy. Bridget Fonda. Please, good Lord, I hate when we've been doing this so long.
I know, I'm fried. Anyway, we know what you mean.
Danny Elfman.
Okay, yes.
God damn it.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Good job.
But thank you, David, for that. I take, and again, for those who didn't listen to David played the Viper Room at a certain point. So it was just, and how you get now, you got to be some virtue to get on that Viper Room stage with a violin. You got to be you got to be the top violinist in all of Southern California. I don't think there's any doubt.
He conquered the Sunset Strip.
Okay, do we have a third one?
Yes, I have 2 options. Let me there was one about the music. I'm pulling it up here. Okay, this is from DC. This is a quick one. I love the theme song that played in and out of the episode. That was our last episode. Depp cleared. Yes, that's the title. I was so happy to see a new post from you guys. Keep it going. Well, thank you very much, DC. I responded, I love that song too. Probably going to use it more frequently. And for this one, I was going to torture us all with a little vanilla ice, but I wisely thought against it. I'm not going to do that to all of you. I was going to play that funky music and
Why don't you
just
sing the real Queen and David Bowie song, Under
no.
Pressure?
I'm not singing. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not doing vanilla. I'm not doing Ice Ice Baby. I'm gonna
Oh, okay,
do
okay.
play that funky music because he has a line about WINO, and I was gonna edit in Johnny Depp saying
Ah,
WINO
right, right.
forever. I'm not. I'm too lazy. I'm not gonna do it. Maybe
I
someday.
never saw the Vanilla Ice movie, but I
I
do know
did.
this.
Cool
This
as
this
ice.
freaked me out. This freaked me out. This is the only thing I know about this movie, and I'm still thinking. Was Michael Gross in the movie Mr. Keaton from Family Ties?
I think so.
That fascinates me. The dichotomy of Mr. Keaton and Vanilla Ice in the same movie. I remember the trailer, and I saw like Michael Gross running around, and I go, "What the?" It just freaked me out that Stephen Keaton, one of the greatest fathers in the history of television, and he is phenomenal in Family Ties, by the way.
I'm
Funny,
flashing.
likable. Go
I'm
ahead.
flashing back. I'm sorry. I'm flashing back to the Cool as Ice trailer
Yeah,
and his
we can
line.
maybe we could put that in at the end. Maybe we
Yeah,
could.
I'll put that in. Do you remember his
Yeah,
line?
definitely. No, I don't. I
He
don't.
says to the girl, of course, with the overly permed 80s hair, he says, "Drop that hero, drop that zero and get with the
He's
hero."
not playing a high school student, is he?
I think so.
Oh no, he's in high school. No,
I
no,
know.
no, no, no.
A
I
high
know his real
schooler.
name, Robbie Van Winkle, right?
Yeah, Rob Van Winkle.
Yeah,
I had a mini crush on him for like 5
everybody did.
minutes. No. Oh, God.
Does he have a burnt eyebrow like Luke
I
Perry?
It's either shaved or it's a
Okay.
scar.
Right.
I had a book on him too, like one of those fan books.
You are out of
Oh my god.
control with these
And
cheesy fucking teen crushes you have.
I
You're
was
out of
a
control. How
hormonal
do you like boy?
teenager.
Oh, you don't make any sense. How do you like boy bands and Nirvana and the Seattle scene at the same time? It's so oil and water.
I had a poster of Vanilla Ice on my wall. Around the same time, I had a poster of Johnny Depp on my wall.
You have Depp and Vanilla Ice on the same wall.
21 Jump
What?
Street pinups and Vanilla
I'll give
Ice.
you Richard Grieco and Vanilla Ice in the
Nah,
same locker.
Richard Grieco never went into that. Too groomed. Those eyebrows are not natural. No.
The
So
voice of Ghost Rider.
I
Is there
can't apologize.
is there anything else in those comments underneath it or that I'm forgetting? Is there
Um,
some other on the bottom?
yes, from Third Revelation.
Okay, okay.
You need to help me out with this one. Affleck dash Kevin
Yes.
Smith.
Got it. I got it. I know
Okay,
exactly.
okay,
Got it. No,
okay.
keep reading. I know what it is.
In parentheses, it says Jersey Girl, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, and Dogma. And then next line is Kevin Smith dash Depp,
Got it.
parentheses Tusk, and Yoga Hosers.
Got it. And
Okay.
what's the name is again? His name is
Third Revelation.
okay. So what he's referring to is our mini-sode yesterday.
Yeah.
We went into, did Depp ever have any affiliation with Affleck? Have they worked together? Did
Oh,
they know
okay,
each other?
okay.
Da, da, da. And he's playing the Kevin Bacon game,
All
which
right,
I
six
figured out too.
degrees.
It's very clever what he's doing. And when we got off, I'm like, oh, you know what? Kevin Smith. And then Depp and Kevin Smith are friends, oddly, because Lily-Rose and Harley Quinn are best friends throughout school, and they were in Yoga Hoses together. That's a Depp's in that movie. He's got a big role in that movie. He plays Guy Lapointe,
Hmm.
and it started with the movie before it, Tusk, with they all have cameos in that, and then they decide to make it all Depp centric. In fact, Vanessa Paradis is in the movie playing a French teacher, and Jack Depp has a cameo at the convenience store.
I remember reading something about that and seeing some kind of a mini trailer with Vanessa Paradis, her pictures on a wall or something.
Yeah. So what
Okay.
he's doing is Kevin Smith's long. They basically were Depp and Burton in their own kind of Gen X way. And so Kevin Smith has obviously done a ton of. I'm sorry, Ben Affleck has done a ton of Kevin Smith movies. They've had an on and off relationship over the years, Chasing Amy and tons of. I think Kevin Smith has a producer credit on Good Will Hunting, believe it or not. And they've been in tons of stuff together, and they have a long-standing. So that's how he connected the two, and that was very clever. And he did it very quickly too. We were barely done with that. Now that showed up on the comments. Well done, sir.
Mm-hmm. We get so many good comments.
Oh, everyone's great.
I'm proud
I
of
hope
the
it
comments
grows
we
and
get.
grows and grows. I hope we have time to read them all too.
Yeah. Let me move on
Eventually,
to the one I got
it's
on
the last one,
Twitter.
right?
Yeah.
This
Um
is great. This is great. I hope people have talked. You got to hang with us for this because I hope you're, especially if you're football fans.
my on my personal account, Sarah, on Twitter, I posted a link to our last episode, the Depp cleared yes. I said our newest episode from last night. Plan to do smaller episodes through the week. For us, that's an
This
hour.
this is on Twitter. This is
Yeah, it's on
Shane.
Twitter.
Yeah.
For us, that's an hour. I don't know how anybody can stop after 10 minutes. And our usual sagas on the weekend. Thanks everybody for the support. The first response I get, I'm starstruck. The first response I get
Oh,
is the co-host from my favorite, and you love this podcast too.
that you turned me on to it, and I'll tell you. I'll
I
go into
stop
what.
everything I'm doing on a Wednesday night and after a Browns game for this podcast. Okay, so this is Mike Rostano, and I feel like I'm his friend now. But their channel is Brownie Postgame, the best football discussion you are ever going to come across on the internet, especially about the Browns, but they talk about everything.
Yeah, yeah.
They also do the Wednesday show, which is my favorite. Mike
And
Rostano,
one more. Does he in the off season? Mike Killy, the other Mike, the host. He named one of the, and I don't know if I saw Rostano on it. And you'll finish this as soon as he has a show called Empty Backfield, which is the
that's
best
it,
title I've ever heard for a
just
football
him.
podcast.
That's
Yeah,
just
yeah, and
him like
it's just
chatting.
it. Yeah, you can't have. I guess if you're calling it empty backfield, you can't have
Exactly. They're
Rostano or your father.
so Mike Kelly. It originally started Mike Kelly and his father Dan Kelly. They have the greatest relationship, father-son
That's what I love.
relationship.
Yeah, it's such a great. It's I love everything about. God, I'm sorry.
And it's okay. And diehard Browns fans, and they have Mike Rostano come in as like the third Mike, but he's right in there. God, he's so smart. But
He's
anyway,
more the like he's on now more than Mr. Killy is, but there's no set thing. It seems like, right? I mean, he seems like he's on more.
yeah, I would say he's on more. Mr. Killy, Senior Killy, he is on mainly after the games, and he'll show up in the chats on the Wednesday show. Sorry, everybody, I'm getting to the point.
No,
But
no, God.
Mike Ristano responds, this is the first like I get on this, so I was wow. He says, "Fun fact: I showcased for Geffen at the Viper Room. Cool spot. I had to fan myself because I was so starstruck when I got this response." But that's a nice, let him know my response to him. We did a two-parter on the Viper Room, almost 5 hours, and I don't think we're done yet somehow. But yeah, that's a great
That
podcast,
is
and I
again
appreciate
we're getting all this stuff after. I mean, again, we got to do another Viper Room, and I think we should
we
have
have
Mike
enough.
Rostano on to talk about his experience. This is crazy.
Oh, that's
So
up
he
to him.
showcased. To think about this, he should have told Geffen he was Keanu Reeves. We see, right? Does Rostano kind of have a little Keanu Reeves in him sometimes when you see when he goes full John Wick
A little bit. I
and
think
the
he looks like X-Pac from WWF.
yeah. That's a compliment. And so
That is a
doesn't
compliment.
David Geffen have a huge crush on Keanu Reeves? It's said there's some kind of weird.
Something was going on, I think.
Yeah. So Rostano could have played the kid. I think that's a type Geffen has, and I mean Rostano would have had like a 10, 10 album contract just off that with his band. That's so great. I wonder
Yeah.
what year that is too.
I don't know. Maybe showcasing for Geffen?
You
Late.
said Rostano's band is Stealing September. Is that
I think so. Yeah.
now? This is complete. I'm just
That may not have been the band at the time.
taking
I
a
don't know.
shot. Do you think that the derivation of that name is when the Browns got stolen by the Ravens to Baltimore?
I
And
don't
so, like,
know.
it's, you know what I mean? Like, it stole his September.
Anything
because
is
he
possible.
lived for the start of the season.
Hmm. He, like me, is an out-of-state Browns fan.
Yeah,
So
that's always great. But he's not even he's in Delaware.
I believe so. Yeah.
And I should say too, I'm on the chat. I haven't been on in a while because I've been busy. When the Wednesdays, I have not been able to engage in. I'm 17 Squabble Lane
He
in the
loves
chat.
you. You're like the
Yeah,
as you are
I
on
love
this
them.
show.
I
You
love them. I do.
you are like you come on and you make everybody laugh, and
Well, yeah, I just
you're
try to,
so great.
say something in there, give them something to look at. When you first introduced me to the podcast, I was like, how are you going to do a show I was fascinated that someone would love the Browns so much that they would do a full podcast on just the Browns. Like, you're not gonna, and they do. They talk about all of it. They know a lot about all the NFL. Just complete Brown savants. And I'm like, this can't. I got to see how this goes. And sure enough, the dynamic. And so it's his father. His father is probably, what would you say, like in his late 60s, early
Yeah, I would say
70s.
so. If he's not, sorry.
And it makes me, and I'm a Steeler fan. I'm a Steeler and San Diego, LA, I can't say LA, Charger fan. And
Say San
I have
Diego.
become, I love the Browns a little bit more every time I watch this podcast and listen to these guys and the passion. And I have such a soft spot in my heart for these teams like the Browns, like the Vikings, like the Dolphins, that haven't won a suit. These classic old school NFL teams that haven't won anything in a long. It's so easy to be a Steeler fan. It's
Hmm.
so easy. They're good. All if they go 9-7, it's a disaster. They make the playoffs every year. It's so easy to be a Steeler fan, but it's so much cooler to be and it's such a likable friend. You start to love everybody on Cleveland because of them. And the dad, I want his dad to get a Super Bowl so bad. I would
Yeah.
every year that ticks by for all of us, you're like, are we ever gonna, like, if and I go through this with the Trailblazers, every year that goes by, I'm like, am I gonna die and not see them win an NBA title?
Yeah.
I'm Generation X, and I'm just going. You go back to when I first became a super fan in the late '80s, mid to late. It's now 30 plus years later, and
Hmm.
we've gotten to the finals, still haven't won it. Is it just going to end this way?
Yeah, they won the championship the year before I was born. I'm like you. I hope to see
And
it
I don't
someday.
remember it. I don't remember the '77 title. I mean,
No.
when I started to research the NBA, like when I became like a super NBA fan, like late elementary school, that's when I'm starting to read encyclopedias and stuff. Oh my God, the Trailblazers were actually, I didn't see it. I was too young.
Hmm.
And I'm just thinking now, am I ever going to see this again?
I think we're next season. I say this every season.
You should say too, Mike Hilly
Go on
makes
a
the
big run.
greatest, he makes the greatest video,
Oh,
hype video
I
compilations.
I suggest everybody my favorite hype video of all time was made by Mike Killy on the Brownie Post Game channel. It is In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins. It
Yeah, yeah.
is
And
right
Roscano plays drums on it, right?
he made it right after Baker Mayfield's rookie season, where everybody was so hyped and this was a turning point. We were now winners, Hey,
That's the problem. When
I
you
know.
hype something so mightily, the
I
fall
know.
is
We
so much
suffer
greater.
the
I
last
felt
3
so.
seasons.
I watch every Wednesday show, and here's my only nitpick about their show. When they do a post game show after the Browns, I wish they would wait until the second wave of games before they did it. I think they should do it. It's easy for me to say, they have lives and kids and what, but I wish they did it after the second wave of games, like the 7:50 Eastern time, 7:15 Eastern time, and then in between that and the Sunday night game, because I'm always watching the in the West. Obviously, in the West Coast, it's 1 p.m. in the East for you. The 4 o'clock games on the East Coast, I'm always watching those. So I can't. A lot of times, I'm just not engaged on the post game show. I'm just sort of not. I'm not ready for it, or I'm not looking for it. And I wish they would wait until the second wave of games to do the
And we
post
miss
in
it.
between the Sunday night and the. But again, they may not have time.
Yeah, of course. Everybody's different.
I have to.
Nobody,
You have to. They have lives. They have kids. They have
well,
full. These
like
people.
us tonight, nobody can really sit here for 4 hours like we have been doing this. We've had a few technical issues. I'm gonna have to edit out. It's if this
Yeah,
episode
it's
has
not
been a
even just
mess.
doing it. It's the right. The editing
Yeah.
is just as tedious.
Ugh, that's 4 a.m. tomorrow morning.
But
So,
I see and I watch, and the last one I watched, when the Browns are officially out of it,
hmm
mathematically out of it, the look on all their faces, that's we all they put into it, from from late August, and the hype and the promise and the potential and the 11-5 Browns of last year, and then that you could see their face go, I can't believe we're at this point. And you think about the Browns, and they beat the wins they had, and then the weird little losses that they could have beaten Green Bay. The Super Bowl could be Kansas City, Green Bay, and they could easily have beaten both teams. I think they're way more dangerous. Woke up feeling dangerous, didn't we? I think they're way more dangerous than Pittsburgh is in a playoff scenario. Even though Pittsburgh beat them and they made it, I still think the Browns are capable of beating teams Pittsburgh isn't capable of beating. As results, they could have easily beaten Green Bay and Kansas City, which
hmm
could be the Super Bowl.
yeah,
It's so frustrating. They're like the best 8 and 9 team in the history of the NFL.
I'm still surviving off last season's fumes of making Big Ben cry,
Yeah,
and
you're thinking
I
about that,
wish we
right?
could have
It
done
seems,
that this year. It happens.
and they know again. Yeah, Ristano's got they both do. Killy, they're so similar and so different
hmm
at the same time. They have so many commonalities, and then you add Mr. Killy to the fold, and he has. I suspect. Here's the crazy thing about the Killies. They grew up in central Pennsylvania. So they're in between the Eagles and the Steelers. Both have rabid fan bases, especially when you talk about the Steelers. Now they're in the same division. They're Browns fans in Pennsylvania. What the F is that? How does
hmm
that happen? I figure Mr. Killy, I think, did he say he grew up in Jersey?
I think so. Yeah.
And he became a Browns fan there. I guess, my father is a little older than Mr. Killy, but my father was a huge Jim Brown fan.
hmm
And I think a lot of that generation loved Jim Brown, and they just they had the ability to, if you weren't, and I mean, you think he might, I don't think the Giants, no, the Giants weren't playing. The Giants were playing in Yankee Stadium, I think, when Mr. Kelly was young. So you wouldn't have been exposed to them as your local team. So
hmm
I don't know, maybe that's how it happened, but it's fascinating. And as often happens, the son, not sins of the father, but the son takes on the teams of their father.
Of
And Mike
course.
Kelly took the ball and ran like Mike Pruitt with it, or Metcalf. And I love the father and son dynamic. I'm almost jealous that they
Yeah.
do that together, right? And then Mike
hmm
Ristano is a perfect addition, and nobody talks over each other. They all get, and it's the passion and the knowledge. And look, life is short, and there's a million sports podcasts, and there's a million sports radio to listen to. So I'm not going to waste your time unless I didn't think it was worth it. And they're
I
all
know.
very likable. So
It
listen to the Brownie post game show before and after every Cleveland Brown game, and the Wednesday Brown show.
when you write up the description for this video, put their link in the comments.
Definitely, we'll do it every
Okay.
time. We'll do it every
Yeah.
time,
I love that
and they'll
show.
do it. And they'll
It's
do it for us.
the only YouTube channel that I actually subscribe to, pay money to every month, and I do it
Oh,
gladly.
that's right. You're on the bottom scroll, right? It
Of
says Sarah.
course.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You got to. There's so
Yeah.
many dumb things people like make a killing on YouTube with Patreons, and it's this deserves your greenbacks if anything
Mhm.
does.
And it's a crime that it doesn't have more subscribers on that
He's trying
channel.
to get to 5,000, right? Isn't that the
Yeah,
goal?
I think he should have
Yeah.
50,000. I think it's
Anyone
that good.
listening to this, subscribe to so they meet their 5,000 goal, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stern fans, Depp fans,
Football
especially Depp,
fans.
Depp fans, football fans. Depp's a Miami Dolphin fan,
There
for
you
all the
go.
to tie that in. Depp's a huge Miami Dolphin fan.
And we can
Here's to
talk
a
about what we
Browns.
want.
Here's to a Browns Dolphins AFC Championship next year.
All right, I'll take it. We might win. All right, do you have anything else? I'm
Yeah.
fried.
Mike Ristano on drums for the Hollywood Vampires,
All right.
and David the violinist on violin, and
Sounds
then I'll get behind them.
sounds good to me. Okay.
Great job, Sarah. Great patience. I know it's a pain in the ass. We love the editing and the Catherine Bigelow filmmaking you do.
Well,
Does
tomorrow
not
will
get
be the
enough credit.
biggest test of my editing abilities to date. So,
I know. There's so
oh
many
well,
gaffes.
it happens. We've been lucky so far. Okay. Well, thank you,
All right.
everybody.
Have a good night, everybody.
All right. Bye bye.
What the hell is that? Drop that zero and get with the hero.
You are the girl for me.
See you later, Dick. It's Nick. Oh, yeah. Nick.
I'll leave you never.
Sometimes I'd like to do something really wild just because I never have.
You ain't true to yourself, and you ain't true to nobody.
Your love can take me higher.
I want you to stay away from him.